After 4 exciting races, 8 drivers buckled up and ready to go to try and see if they can come away with a championship. The top drivers of the Northwest Cup Series have made their way to the virtual IS-Wood Speedway for the round of 8. It's the first race of the second round of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs, and it's live on LSR TV and CRN Sports. Good evening, I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me is Greg Rentz with Wilson Owen in the pits. Charles Wynn in the director's seat for the Napa Know-How 175, presented by LSR TV from the virtual Newton, Iowa Space Circuit. This is expected to be a great race tonight, to say the very least, Greg. It's a racer-friendly track with multiple different grooves.
And what better way to kick off the round of 8 than with the only short track here in this round, Justin? 0.88 miles. That's 7/8 of a mile here tonight in the cornfields of Iowa. The Northwest boys have been here for quite some time here, Justin. This all started 2 weeks ago with the Northwest Tour B-League race. Then the Northwest Tour ran here that following Sunday. Then the following Thursday, the trucks hit town at Iowa. Finally here tonight after 9 days of racing at Iowa. It concludes here with 175 laps for the Northwest Cup Series playoff cutoff. And I've been talking to several drivers who have been involved in all 4 races, and they have said, we cannot wait to put this in the mirror behind us because we have turned a lot of laps at Iowa, and it is time for one final one here tonight for 175 laps.
Yes, indeed. Under the lights at this point. 875-mile circuit, 1.4 kilometers, 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking around this racetrack, with 10 degrees of banking down the front stretch and 4 degrees down the back straightaway. This track, once again based in Newton, Iowa, was originally designed by Rusty Wallace and several others, and has hosted everything from NASCAR Xfinity Series action to the IndyCar Series. The weather tonight, 78 degrees is the track temp rather. 77 degrees will be your air temp, mostly cloudy skies with a decent amount of wind around the circuit. Very high humidity as well of 93% on Ensign Day, October the 12th, 2020. For many competitors, though, the focus now heads towards the battle for the championship. After 4 races, it's time for the round of 8. The drivers who will have a shot to compete to try and see if they can get into the championship 4 are Sean Breitzman, who has the most wins on the season with 8, Seth Frazier with 5, tied with Dan West Jr. They are second and third coming into this round. Jeff Stabno with 2 victories is in 4th. BJ Tidrick starts tonight 5th with Dan Lowther in 6th. Stephen Paulus and Carl Burke made this round on points. The drivers downward missed the cutoff. Corey Walters, Chris White, Ricky Bozier, John Ottenbacher, but the drivers eliminated last race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, for the best of the rest, presented by LSR TV, it's Devin West, who is currently at the top of that board by 9 total points of those standings. He's 13th best in the standings as well, the best overall combined season non-playoff driver over Stefan O'Hare, for comparison's sake. Greg, it's not going to be easy for these championship competitors, to say the very least. You can tell that this is going to be one round where things can go different.
And I was talking to a few drivers in the playoffs before this about that, and one that stood out to me was what Seth Frazier said. Seth Frazier said he predicts 3 playoff drivers will lock themselves in on wins. That means in these 4 races, Iowa, Michigan, New Hampshire, and then a tentative date at Texas, which is still listed as tentative. It could change, but we're going to operate under it being at Texas for now. But of those 4 races, Seth Frazier says he believes 3 drivers will advance on wins here tonight. That would leave one final spot in the points available for a driver who raced in off of points in this one. This last round saw 6 drivers racing off points because a non-playoff driver picked up 2 wins in the round of 12, that being Devin West, who enters tonight with back-to-back victories, and that has catapulted him again to the top of the board in the LSR TV Best of the Rest category. So I'm curious to see if Seth Frazier's prediction holds true again. He said 3 playoff drivers will most likely advance off wins, leaving that 4th spot up to points. It all starts here tonight. We go to Iowa, Michigan, New Hampshire, and tentatively Texas. We'll see how it goes in this round of 8.
And keep in mind, there are 3 off weeks mixed in with that, including Christmas, Thanksgiving, and don't forget about week 13 for iRacing. That is just around the corner. How crazy 2020 has flown by, to say the very least. At the same time, this is the first time the Northwest Cup Series has visited Iowa in its history. But we're talking about the past winners before Greg talk us through the history of the Northwest Racing Series here, especially since there have been several different performances that have come up on top for drivers in this race tonight.
Well, we talked about it a little bit on Thursday how for the Truck Series, it was their 5th visit to the series. Sean Brightsman and Mark Walls had 2 wins each. Sean Brightsman, though, is the all-time winner here because the previous version of this series that runs on Mondays, the Northwest Xfinity Series, came here twice. Sean Brightsman won this race here last year in his number 46 car. Jason Berg won in 2018 in the first visit to Iowa. That makes Brightsman the all-time winner here in Iowa with 3 wins in competition. But, Justin, this one's wide open because both Jason Berg and Sean Brightsman not in the field tonight. Brightsman traveling out of town to spend Thanksgiving holidays with the family. So, with that being said, the only driver who is competing in this race that has a win at Iowa is Dan West Jr., who just won on Thursday. So this race is wide open for a first-time winner. But they got to get through Dan West Jr., who, by the way, was fastest in practice.
23 flat for him, 4 1,000 second quicker, in fact, than Cole Raz, Casey Garber, Caden Anderson, Chris White was the top 5. Now, once again, to remind you that drivers in the postseason will be in the blue pylon colored cars on the left side of your screen. Qualifying is also underway on the racetrack for the competitors to see who can get track position among the 33 competitors who've made their way to Iowa. Wesley Owen standing by in the pit lane. And Wesley, your thoughts on this race tonight as we get ready to go short track racing?
Well, first off, I just want to say good evening to everybody. Hope you are all ready to gobble down some turkey for the Thanksgiving holiday, and we hope you enjoy this late night Monday entertainment with the Northwest Cup Series presented by Waltz Beard Co. and LSR TV for the Northwest Cup Series. And again, Iowa Speedway, one of these unique racetracks, gentlemen, where you could run it like a super speedway, but it's a short track. It's 7/8 of a mile, but it's big enough to be like a bigger racetrack, like a Michigan or Auto Club Speedway. And we saw that type of race with the trucks on Thursday night. We saw the long green flag run, and then we saw the sequence of green caution, green caution. I think we're going to see the same scenario here for the Cup boys here tonight at Iowa. The only thing that's going to be different, I believe, is, of course, the pit stops. You've got to be a premium on pit road. These are the best of the best in the Northwest Cup Series. They got to not make mistakes. They got to hit their marks on the pit lane. They got to take advantage of track position. Greg, we saw 2 tire stops, no tire stops, fuel stops only in the strategy for the Truck Series. For the Cup boys, I think they're going to have to let it all hang out. Most importantly, no penalties entering or exiting off of pit road. If they can avoid EOLs and have successful race, we'll see who will be in victory lane tonight at Iowa Speedway. It should be a nice pre-Monday night Thanksgiving motorsports iRacing ritual. We'll have fun this evening, and I'll call it on pit road.
Thank you, Wesley. This is going to be an interesting one. Right now, Cole Raz is at the top of the board in qualifying at 23.1. That is about a tenth or so slower than his best practice time. Anderson, Joshua Beal, Roy Grande, Ryan Maines, the current top 5, as Seth Frazier puts in a 23.3 to start off his laps. He's now on his second time around.
Frazier, again, we talked to him. He said he was thinking 3 drivers would advance in on wins. He's one of those 8 drivers that's in the mix, 5 wins on the season. That's not going to help him as he breaks loose off of turn number 2. And actually, he still was able to get it up to third at a 23.209. Boy, if that thing had not broke loose on him, I think we would have been seeing a pole position right now for Seth Frazier in the number 32. Want to talk for a moment about the driver on top. We've mentioned him every time he's raced. Cole Raz has had a lot of speed. The Arizona State champion in the number 10. Once again, showing a lot of speed in that number 10 car here tonight. His teammate, Caden Anderson, just behind him, 1 and 2. Raz looking for that first win of the season. Anderson still trying to break through and get win number 2.
Raz has finished 4th 2 times in a row to start off his career in the Cup Series. As we take a look at Jeff Stabnow trying to build up some speed. Right now, he's using the top line at the moment. That is a 23-4 to start. Drivers have been trying to work the bottom line around here for comparison's sake. Oh, by the way, should be no surprise, Dan West Jr. to the top of the board, a 23-0-6-2 to start Q.
So Dan West Jr. on top of the board as of now of 20 drivers that have gone, led the most laps at Iowa here on Thursday in the Truck Series, Justin. And as West Jr. goes out, again, became the 5th all-time winner in NWRS competition here on Thursday night, looking to tie Mark Walls with 2 on the season.
Using some time to get some preparation in right now. Once again, you have the ability to do so as long as you stay on the racetrack. You can turn extra practice laps, so to speak, if you want to. His son, Devin West, has won back-to-back races. He's qualified P9 on the board. James Vining, meanwhile, is now on the racetrack putting in a time, this time going with the Iron Maiden look as he tries to go up the irons and up the board.
We've seen this from Vining before in that number 333, the Catman that we call him. Looking to become the 23rd driver to take time. He will set lap number 1, 21st at a 23.632, Justin.
Track position could be very key, and several competitors still waiting with about 6 minutes to work with. Scott Mann among the drivers in the pit lane. Corey Walters ready to come on the track soon. Frank Harris, Robert Hodel. Dale Wernerberg making a debut tonight in the 714. Scott Hutchinson, Casey Garber, Tyra Kane, Ricky Belger, Kevin Smith, Toby Ritters yet to set times. 23.5 to 19th goes Vining. So the interesting mark is going to be, what does Scott Mann do? Because we've seen the 90 several times in this series, but lately, every time he's had speed, 9 times out of 10 he DNFs.
And that's a shame for Scott Mann, because that is transferred over to the Northwest Tour as well. Has a lot of speed when he enters a race, just not able to put it together and get a finish. But speaking of the Northwest Tour, by the way, Justin, Casey Garber, the number 94, not yet going out. He won the Northwest Tour race here last Sunday here at Iowa, followed it up with a great run in the trucks, and I thought the strategy was going to pay off. Unfortunately, the green flags didn't fall his way at the end, but Casey Garber, a lot of speed at Iowa. He was near the top in practice as well. He's just now entering the racetrack as Scott Mann continues his laps.
See how it is.
Currently sitting in 14. Sorry, Justin.
He has a 23.302, got loose in 1 and 2. That puts him at the P12, yes. But Garber, as you mentioned, is wheeling his way now around the racetrack. Was P5 in practice. That was after, or rather, third position, rather, 23.113. Overall, was able to put in 28 practice laps in this Cup car. He's trying to use the banking as a bit of a ramp compared to some of the others. This is a different line than what we've seen from the drivers here, trying to go to the yellow line, then exit up high, or trying to run against the wall in 3 and 4.
19th on the first lap, 23.444. Garber in the same paint scheme that he won on Sunday in the Super Late model. So looking for a little bit more success, driving his grandfather Bruce's number in that number 94. Usually see him in number 96 in other classes, but 94 in the Northwest Racing Series. Jumps to 5th at a 23.167. Nice job for Casey Garber. He's going to move up right behind the driver that ran out of fuel while leading late at Iowa, Caden Anderson. He's looking for some redemption. He feels like the track owes him one. He sits 4th, but Garber able to get in front of last year's Tour champion and playoff driver Seth Frazier in the number 32.
Meanwhile, Tyler King is now on the racetrack. First time around, a 23.6. That puts him P24, and we've seen him run a part-time schedule this season. He's been quick at various racetracks. He might be someone to keep an eye on tonight once more. He drives the American touch-up car tonight in his Ford Mustang. Second time around, coming off of turn 4, used the middle line in 3 and 4. It's a 23.3, only 17th. Every other car currently still in the pit lane with 3 minutes on the clock.
They include Frank Harris, Toby Ritter, Scott Hutchinson, Kevin Smith, Corey Walters, Robert Huddell, and Ricky Bozer. Dale Wennerberg has loaded it up on the trailer and is taking off. The only driver that is staged here on pit road is Corey Walters in the number 9, but not showing any signs of heading out as Tyler King pulls in. Corey Walters is staged but has yet to hit the track. 26 cars have taken time thus far. Dan West Jr. and Chris White, your top 2 right now. Still waiting to see if any of these other drivers make a run. Does not look like any of them intend to, as Walters continues to just sit on pit road. As you see right there, time running out here in qualifying.
Drivers were told in the race, meaning that they would be given time to go to the end of the clock if they so choose. The track temp has stayed stable, but the wind has picked up a ton to the point where there is a bit of a headwind down the front straightaway for this track. You see the miles an hour that's gone to as high as 12 miles an hour throughout the qualifying session. It can cause some turbulence through the corners to potentially make it a bit more tricky for these cars to stick around. One thing to keep in mind, there were setup building sessions to prepare the fixed setup for this series for tonight. Drivers described it feeling different compared to last night, especially throughout their testing. And this is with the similar weather conditions we see tonight. This could be a tough race for a couple competitors who may have not got the practice laps in to be able to completely adjust for that. This could be, in turn, one where drivers may have to play it calm to start if they don't have track positions right.
And we'll see how it goes. That's actually a strategy on one of the playoff drivers I talked to, BJ Tidrick in the number 72. He said he was going to hang back and ride for the first 115 laps or so. He said about 2/3 of the way. So right around lap 115, that's go time for the number 72. He had an okay run in the super late model, said he struggled here on Thursday. He's one of those drivers who's just wanting to get this race in and get it on the way. So watch for Tidrick to ride in the back for the first 2/3 of the race before moving up around lap 115 as Corey Walters has taken to the track in the number 9, and looks like just like that he has pulled back off.
He thought about it, and now he is back in the race car, by the way. So the tough part is he waited too long here, Greg. He's just revving the engine because I think he realized he waited for an extra 15 seconds too late to try and get any sort of time in at the minimum. That in turn means your field is locked in for tonight. Final 20 seconds now before the cars roll to the starting grid. Greg, your quick thoughts after an impressive qualifying.
Dan West Jr. on the pole. No surprises. He was the winner here on Thursday. So for 175 laps, and Wesley hit on it a little bit earlier. He said this could be one of two ways, and we may see a little bit of both. We may see some long green flag racing. We may see some cautions breed cautions. Iowa is known for both. I don't know what to expect on this one. For me personally, I'm going to say we're going to see some long green flag runs with a few cautions near the end, but I think we're going to be good, clean and green, at least at the start of this race.
It's time to buckle up and take a look at your starting grid as we go racing from Iowa Speedway. The Northwest Cup Series, presented by Walls Beer Co. and LSR TV. It is Dan West Jr. who leads row 1. Brought to you by ComServe Wireless. After setting a 23.062 in qualifying, it's Chris White on the outside of the front row, with row 2 featuring Cole Raz, the hot star for the past 2 races, back-to-back P4s. He'll start alongside his pal, Caden Anderson. Casey Garber, coming off a Northwest Tour victory, starts in 5th, with Seth Frazier in 6th position. Joshua Beal starts in 7th position tonight, with Jeff Stabnow in 8th. Roy Grande will try and bring the Taco Bell car to a taco party in victory lane from 9th, while Devin West comes into tonight with back-to-back victories on the campaign, Greg.
Carl Burke will roll off in the 11th spot, with Ryan Maines back in the Cup Series. Been a while since we've seen the number 13 here in the Cup Series. He starts 12th. Scott Mann, we talked about him in 13th position, with BJ Tidrick going to be on that ride and wait strategy in the number 72. He rolls off in 14th. Nick Bellamy, the winner of the Northwest Tour race at North Wilkesboro, making, I believe, what would be his 2nd or 3rd start. We have to double check, but Nick Bellamy very limited starts in the Cup Series. He's back in town tonight in the number 22. Dan Lowther, playoff driver and Talladega winner in 16th. Tyler King, one of the Beaver State Racing drivers, will roll up alongside Michigan winner Bruce Lee Weaver in the number 40. Josh Childress out of Wenatchee and playoff driver Stephen Paulson, your top 20, Justin.
21st spot tonight goes to Cameron Doyle with the Catman. James Viney in 22nd position. Joshua Marcy, John Ottenbacher 23rd and 24th. Rounding up the drivers who took times is Stephen O'Hare with 23.7, just a few 100s quicker than Jeff Hagan's 23.774. Rest of the drivers set via provisionals: Ricky Bozier, Corey Walters, Kevin Smith, Scott Hutchinson, Toby Ritters, Frank Harris, Dale Wernerberg, and Robert Hodel round out your 34 entrants tonight from Iowa. Standing by is Wesley Outland.
So Dan West Jr. made it into the championship 4 for Phoenix with the trucks at Iowa on last Thursday night. Dan, can we see you do the same thing with the Northwest Cup Series tonight?
We sure hope so, but it's going to be a tough one. There's some pretty good competitors in this race. I'm not really sure how good I am on the long run. I've done a little bit of practice, and I'm actually don't feel like I'm that great. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to give it a shot.
Got a question for you as we're going to come to one to go this time by before the green. Do you take anything? Can you take anything from the truck race to help you with the Cup car, or is it basically a totally different obstacle?
It's a totally different animal. I struggled when I first jumped in the Cup car, so the only good thing is you kind of learn the line around here, but it just acts totally different with the Cup car, so we'll see what we can do.
Dan West Jr., he's in the championship 4 for Phoenix with the trucks. Now, can he repeat and sweep Iowa in the cornfields virtually? Justin and Greg, we're going to find out as they're coming to green on the back straightaway this time by.
Thank you very much, Wesley, as we get ready to go racing once more from Iowa. It's going to be an entertaining one. One of the best juicer tracks on the iRacing service. Fans and drivers alike love to see racing here. But it's Dan West Jr. for West Family Racing, bringing us to the green flag tonight, with Chris White on the outside of the front row in the Wix Filters car. Green flags up for underway from Iowa. And a bit of tire spin to start things off for Dan West Jr. Nearly spun on the bottom of the racetrack. He leads them off the turn 1, hits the bumps on the bottom of the racetrack as Chris White keeps it on the outside down the back.
Nice job by West Jr. to recover despite the little bit of tire spin there on the initial start, Justin. He did a fantastic job to keep it together. I thought when he spun the tires, Chris White was able to do what he's doing here off of turn number 4. White's going to lead the first lap, but West Jr. not giving up there on the bottom. But look who has already made his way up top, and just like that falls down to the bottom. Keep my eye on that number 10 of Cole Raz.
Keep in mind that the top line can be a bit of a preferred line as Corey Walters has a problem in front of the field. Corey Walters hit the wall apparently at the back. He is right in front of the battle for the race lead. Lap 3 and already traffic as Chris White forced to check up as Walters into the fence. But regardless, it's Chris White finally clear. What in the world happened to Corey Walters?
I have to see if we can find a replay of what happened here. As you see Walters going a lap down, and noticed right there a lot of damage on the right rear of the number 9. You mentioned, Justin, he got in the wall. We've got a swag replay of the tail end of this here. There you see him sliding to a stop. Have to go back just a little bit. Right there you see what happened. Let's take a look at the start of this race.
And you see, looks fine. It's going to be after everything where he's 3 wide already, scrapes the wall. Then by turn 2, things get worse because he's already missing the corner in turn 1. A lot of bumps hitting the splitter. Then he spins it around, locks it up, saves it around, gets back going. Then he spins the tires and wrecks it again. That's where we've seen him come into play in front of the race leaders by the time he finally stopped spinning the tires and got it back up to speed after spinning it a 3rd time. And then, as we've seen, he got into the wall a 4th time. He is still struggling. It's a disastrous start of the race for Corey Walters.
So no doubt he's going to want to get this fast repair as soon as possible and get it over with and get a new car. Remember, one fast repair for these drivers in this series as we're back live. We're looking at the battle throughout.
And he got hit with Scott Mann. Caution, not out. It's below the yellow line. Now it is. First yellow of the night.
So Corey Walters, he's having himself a bad day. That's about all we can have right now to start this one off. Swag replay for the first time here tonight. That's Tidrick right in front of him. Scott Mann right there. We talked about the disastrous luck that Scott Mann has. It bites once again, Justin. Here we go.
Yeah, and that time, he came down right across the nose of Scott Mann and right to the inside wall. And then triggers the caution by rolling back on the racetrack and nearly got clobbered by the back part of the field. Corey Walters not having fun. As we take a look now at your overview on the OSR TV feed for tonight's action. Once again, All-American Bart with the overview.
Right there. There's a little bit of contact and around goes Walters. Meanwhile, Justin, we have a mixed bag on pit road. We have about half the field or so coming down pit road. I'm kind of surprised to see them pitting this early. As you see right there, it's including the pole sitter. Wesley, they're with you.
Yeah, Dan West Jr. on pit lane already. So is Ryan Maines and Cole Raz, Caden Anderson, Casey Garber, Roy Taco Grande. You got Devin West, Nick Bellamy. Devin West trying to go for 3 wins in a row, by the way, for the Northwest Cup Series if he can win here tonight. A host of other cars: Weaver, O'Hare, Paulson, Ottenbacher, Marcy, Hagan, Harris, Riddles, Hoddle, all on the pit lane. 4 tires and fuel for a lot of these drivers. I find it very abnormal for them to be pitting so early, but hey, they're taking advantage of the opportunity to go back out there again, and it looks like right now Chris White will become the new leader in 83.
Yes, indeed. Chris White is your race leader. Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnow, Joshua Beal, Carl Burke, BJ Tidrick, Scott Mann, Dan Lowther, Josh Childress, and Cameron Doyle, your top 10. Vining and Bozier also stayed out. Everyone who pit took 4 tires and fuel. Ryan Maines came down a second time for pit stops. By the way, technical issues seen Scott Hutchinson miss the start. He is now 2 laps down. Corey Walters with significant repairs being done. The only car 1 lap down with Kevin Smith and Dale Wernerberg not able to make the green flag tonight. So this is the interesting thing. The fall off here can get pretty significant, Greg, by a few seconds, but you usually don't see pit stops, say, until about 20 or so laps on the tires. Shocking we see them after only about 5 or 6 or so green flag laps.
I'm wondering if these drivers who pitted are just kind of curious to see what the tire differential will be when you have roughly 7 or so laps difference. I'm wondering if they may be strategizing to make short pit stops, and maybe they're anticipating caution breed caution race, because we've seen this before. Again, we talked about it. This track can see long green flag runs, or it can see short caution breed caution restarts. And hey, there's no tire limit here. You can get as many tires as you can get on that car in this 175 lap race. So some of these guys saying, hey, we got tires, why not use them?
Here's one of the main kickers too here with Iowa Speedway. This is one of the tracks where it can be long under caution. On average, 5 minutes per caution, because there is upwards of 4 to 6 pace laps, depending on how many drivers are on the lead lap and so forth. In other words, if it becomes caution breed caution, it might become a time where you might have some time, yes, to think and plan things out. And at some other times, cool off your tires if you, say, burn them up on a heat cycle.
The various variables. I had to think of exactly how to word that one there. Here in this one at play with the tire game. So I'm curious what the winning strategy will be here. We still got a long ways to go before we figure any of that out. Chris White's going to restart up front. He has led just about every lap. Scott Hutchinson, connection issues once again here, falling to the 91 car. So once again, he has fallen out of the race. Chris White, Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnow, Josh Beal. He's driving that Earnhardt number 3 here tonight. Number 112 on ticker, but number 3 on screen. He will restart 4th with Carl Burke 5th. here on this restart. Look at BJ Tidrick and Dan Lauda, the red and green cars up there. Teammates with Seth Frazier here this weekend, trying to work their way up there. All three of those drivers are in the playoffs. We'll see what they got.
Here we go. Green flags out, back on her way. Chris White held them all the way to the end of the restart box. Frazier with a poor start trying to jump it. Jeff Stabnow dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Chris White pulls away by 2 car lengths as they fight side by side for second.
Stabnow to the inside of Frazier as White opens it up. Beal now following Stabnow down on the bottom. He's going to try to get around Frazier into number 32. Stabnow comes up and shuts the door. Watch for the crossover by Frazier. There it is to the inside. Got a nice run off of turn number 4. Stabnow had the spot at the line, but Frazier with a nice move to the bottom to get it back. But then Stabnow gets one of his own on the inside here off of turn 2.
And this is one of the mainstays when it comes to Iowa Speedway and its racing here at this racetrack, right? The ability to try and cross drivers up, try different lines. Some drivers like the top line here, Greg.
Oh, we got problems.
And it's into the wall. Both the West cars are in it. Caution is out. Anderson in it. Kane is in it, as well as everyone piles up in turn 1.
Garber's in it as well. I saw Nick Bellamy squeak through.
I think Doyle might have been the trigger, Greg.
Hearing Doyle may have been the trigger in the 06. Taking a look at the swag replay. This started off of turn 4, I believe. We're watching Paulison in the 58. This happened up further in front of him. There you see it. Break loose. There's Doyle. Paulison goes through. Literally. This started up there off of turn 4.
Yeah, he even with checking up, got into it. But they were 3-4 wide in the back of the field where Doyle was. And eventually, that just all squeezes on in. You'd have to think exactly what happened off of turn 4, especially with Dan West Jr. getting loose in the pink car, helping a little bit with the fender.
That's Josh Childress in the 97. That's 2 Wenatchee boys right there. Josh Childress and Cameron Doyle getting together. But you saw how loose West got there. I think Childress may have seen West Jr. getting loose and kind of went up the track out of pure habit just to give West a little bit extra space. Let's go another look at it. I believe this is on board with Casey Garber in the number 94. Now watch up there. You see West break loose, and then right there, the 2 Wenatchee cars get together. Garber almost gets through, and then Devin West, 2 wins in a row entering the night. Nowhere to go for Garber as he gets caught up in it. Tyler King involved. Boy, hard to tell who got the worst of this one.
Well, here's the thing. Half the field is going to have to use a fast repair from that caution flag, or at the very least has the process to potentially need it. Dan West Jr., Cameron Doyle, Joshua Beal, Caden Anderson, James Vining, Casey Garber among the drivers who made their way towards Wesley this pit window. Several demolished cars.
Yeah, some top contenders at that, as we reiterated on a great group of drivers of the Northwest all tore up, and they're going to take advantage of an early fast repair just 15 laps in. You see the 42 of Ricky Bozier still damaged as he is going to go back out on the racetrack. He did not take advantage of a fast repair. Neither did the 44 of Tyler King. And my question is this, guys, is it too early? Maybe they thought we can try to wing it.
Honestly, at this point, seeing as though most of the drivers involved were in the pit stop window, what's the saying again? Track position is king. Guess what? Track position has kept the drivers who stayed out the last caution period with clean cars.
So these drivers thinking track position right now, they might be waiting till roughly halfway or so to use that fast repair here in these cars. So we're seeing cautions breed cautions here in the early going. We are only 17 laps into this 175 lap race here tonight. Chris White has led just about every lap thus far. Jeff Stabnow in second, Seth Frazier, Carl Burke, BJ Tidrick are your top 5 right now.
Light still on the pace car at the moment. Of note, Scott Hutchinson continuing to try and work on his technical issues. Is 11 laps down. Corey Walters has not pulled back on the racetrack. His 10 laps down at the moment. Tyler King, Toby Ritter's coming down a second time for additional damage repair. Now becomes the tough part, right? Chris White looked good to start this off. But now, can he continue to hold on to it is the big thing, because we've seen some aggressive moves from the cars behind who are looking hungry to take that away. And if they time this up very well here too, Greg, they can take away the race lead just as quickly as Chris White did.
Remember, we saw the battle between Stabnow and Frazier going on. Chris White was able to get away because of that battle, but if that settles down quickly, suddenly Chris White is under heavy pressure from both Stabnow and Frazier. We saw how racy they are here in the early stages of this race at Iowa, wondering if they can get a run at White. No doubt they're going to take a shot at it, and we know Stabnow and Frazier are hungry for wins for two separate reasons here tonight, Justin. Frazier, he is looking for a spot in the championship 4 at Phoenix. Stabnow, he's looking for some redemption because he missed out on advancing in the playoffs in the Truck Series. Still up there in the Cup Series, but he's trying to advance into the championship as well and make a statement, because he's still holding a little bit of anger about that Truck Series playoff run coming up short.
So far, the top 7 are the only drivers who have not had to come in a pit. About half the field has already had to come down twice after the big one at Iowa. Lap 20 on the docket, 156 laps to go at the Napa Know-How. 175 as Chris White, Jeff Stabnow, row 1, Seth Frazier, Carl Burke, row 2, Scott Mann, BJ Tidrick, row 3. Pace car is off, green flag set, we're back racing.
Back underway at Iowa. White again able to break through, and now the battle is going to break out once again for second between Frazier and Stabnow. They were getting after it on that last restart. We'll see more of the same here between the 24 and the 32. Stabnow, though, able to clear off of turn number 2 and get a run at Chris White. This is what we talked about. If Stabnow could get away from Frazier, all of a sudden he'd be putting a lot of pressure on the 83, and here we go. Meanwhile, don't look now, but look back there. Cole Raz and BJ Tidrick trying to make their way up. Cole Raz back up around Tidrick, move him to 6th, going after Burke for 5th now. We know how much speed Cole Raz has in that number 10. He's trying to do a little razzle-dazzle to get up to the front once again.
Raz trying to get the middle line working at the moment. And again, it was seen especially with the original low downforce before the high downforce package came in 2019 that the bottom line was the best to save tires in 3 and 4. The tough part is about trying to paint the yellow line in 1 and 2 is it's a very bumpy racetrack. There are tons of bumps in 1 and 2. Some drivers just spun around off those bumps. Caution is out. Several more cars pile up down the back. James Vining, Ricky Bozier, several more cars involved. Already under caution for the 3rd time already.
Big wreck here on the backstretch. Ricky Bozier now is going to have his hand forced on that fast repair on this one, Justin. Let's take a look at the swag replay. You see right there going up the middle is going to be the cause of that right there. Did not see who that was. As you see Vining get in the Marcy, come up in front of Grande, and going for a ride is the Catman. Tyler King involved again as well. Let's take another look at this. That's Josh Childress in the pink number 97, trying to follow West Family Racing up there. Harris back there. One car off the pace here, Justin.
Yeah, I believe that was, just trying to double check, Odell, who got a little bit loose. And yes, right there, a bit of the contact, and Vining gets the worst hit we've seen on a short track in a while this season. Up in the air and flying up at least 5 feet before plopping back down to the turf and towards the pavement rather. So back under caution for the Northwest Cup Series. The round of 8 for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs is underway from Iowa Speedway. You're watching and listening to LSR TV and CRN Sports. Stick around.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland of CRN Sports, one of the co-founders. I'm also one of the announcers on Live Sim Racing, LSR TV. We've recently partnered with LiveSimRacing.com to become the official radio partner of all of the esports events. What is CRN? Well, first off, we're going to be covering esports like it's never been done before with our MRN, PRN type radio atmosphere like you experience with NASCAR. In addition to that, we will cover the Northwest Trucking Cup Series, the Northwest Tour, and of course special events and sanctions like SWAG and special events like 6 Hours at Daytona and so much more. It's very simple to check out the racing action, whether on LSR TV, on Facebook and YouTube, or by listening. And that's how I want to help you real quickly. Go up simply to the website, wearecrn.com, wearecrn.com, click play, and you are set. It's that simple. We're excited to be the voice of live sim racing. We are CRN. Follow us at crn.com.
Coming up to 150 laps to go from Iowa Speedway. LSR TV and CRN Sports' coverage of the Northwest Cup Series, presented by Walls Beer Co. and by LSR TV, your home for sim racing. It's been an interesting start to the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs' second round. I'd like to remind you that West Bay Napa Auto Parts is located in Silverdale, Washington. You can find them at 9331 Silverdale Way, Northwest. They open at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. Be sure to check them out. Call them at 360-692-2924. Seventh of the way through the race, Greg, and much of it under caution. Your thoughts early on in this one?
Kind of surprised. I said in the pre-race that I thought we were going to see a long green flag run to get this thing going before seeing a lot of cautions near the end of the race, but this has been kind of the polar opposite of this one, and the way this thing has started off, it's showing no signs of it. And with some of these drivers having to take the fast repair, now these drivers in the back like West Jr., Devin West, and other drivers who were caught up in that incident, Casey Garber, Caden Anderson and company, those guys have already used the fast repair. They now have to be pretty careful moving forward because they don't have that fast repair in the bank anymore, so they're going to have to take it easy here. We still have almost 150 laps to go, just under it, so still a long way to go in this one, and a lot of very fast drivers have already had to use the fast repair. Going to be curious to see if this thing starts settling down because drivers are having to really start being careful here.
148 to go when we get back underway. Now, only 4 drivers have yet to pit in this race so far. Chris White, Jeff Stabnell in the front row. Scott Mann starts the inside of row 2, but it's Cole Raz on fresh tires in P4. Rounding out the top 5 at the moment will be BJ Tidrick, John Onnenbacher, who pit at the same caution as Cole Raz in 6. Ryan Main, Stephen O'Hare, Kate Anderson, Jeff Hagan, your top 10 competitors. iRacing pace car is off. What's more, Chris White holds it to the restart box, back underway. He tries to hold on as Cole Raz looks to go to the point, already fanning near 3 wide in the back.
Raz going to fall back in line, though, behind Stab now. They get away from Ottenbacher, who is 3rd in line on the outside. Saw maybe a little bit of tire spin out of Ottenbacher. One car getting up close to the wall there. That may have been the 27 car of Jeff Hagan getting up close to the wall as they get things settled down.
Jeff Stabnell takes the race lead on the top line. He timed it up perfectly on Chris White. So, Chris White shuffled out of the SimStar Motorsports machine to P2. Cole Raz already up to 3rd.
Stabnell, 2-time winner.
Trouble back straight away. Hard hit down to the back of the field. No caution as Robert Hodel crashes in the middle of the back stretch. He gets rolling. He spun from the 20s, just out of the groove.
Remember, that's below the racing surface, so we're able to stay green here. iRacing will only register the caution if they're above that yellow line. There you see it on the bottom of the racetrack, the yellow line. If a car is too slow down there, they'll pick it up. But because Hodel was below that yellow line, we're able to stay green.
Top 3 separated by 0.3 of a second at the moment. Chris White still looking to defend a little bit deeper on the brakes right now compared to Cole Raz, who's diving it down to the yellow line. That line that Raz is doing is one that several different high-level drivers in open competition usually run at Iowa.
Raz with a lot of experience. Here he goes to the bottom of White once again, that diamond line, and I'm wondering if Scott Mann, who's sitting behind him in fourth, I'm wondering if he's going to school on what Raz is doing, and he might be thinking about trying that for himself. Cole Raz, very smart race car driver, the Arizona State champion for a reason. A lot of speed in everything he drives. I'm watching Scott Mann behind him to see if Mann might learn something here, watching what Cole's doing to set up this pass on White.
Keeping an eye as well on some of the steering wheels at the moment. Chris White and Jeff Stabenow putting in a ton of wheel. Cole Raz bobbing the wheel back and forth for comparison's sake and really trying to let it all hang out. Look at Chris White on board. This is from the middle line, and you can see already 45 degrees to the left in 3 and 4. That's not good for the tires. That nearly opened up the bottom for Raz.
I think White may have got the wall off of turn number 2 the previous time as well, so that opened the door for Raz. That's a nice job by White to keep Raz at bay, as he did catch the wall. We did get it confirmed right here last time by. Now he's going back after Stabenow, but again, trying the outside lane, and we've seen Stabenow have a lot of good short run speed, but we're already, Justin, at the longest green flag run of the race here. Stabenow able to get away with the lead, and White trying to put the pressure back on. White out of the playoffs, trying to get some redemption in that number 83 car. Going after Stabenow with 2 wins on the season. White with 2 wins as well. You got 2 drivers behind him looking for career win number 1, Cole Raz and Scott Mann. And then Caden Anderson, who is still hungry after hitting the jackpot in Las Vegas. He hasn't been in the victory lane since. He wants it as well.
He's on a little fresher tires as well compared to Raz. The freshest tires overall are Seth Frazier's at the moment, who is in 13th position. Dan West Jr. has recovered from his incident early on, having to take the faster pair after a blown motor to up 11th position at the moment. Things are getting crazy, though, around that group. It's 3 wide off of turn 4. They nearly crashed around several different competitors.
That started when Ottenbacher got very close to the wall. You see the battle right there between White and...
Oh, trouble. There's contact.
It's continuing. Yeah, that's continuing. That's Beal and Ottenbacher getting together in the field. Fans out, and Ottenbacher got the worst of it in the 89. You see him get shuffled all the way to the back. Dan Lowther back there as well. There's Josh Childress, who was caught up in that incident. Cameron Doyle. Boy, John Ottenbacher and Josh Beal, they've gotten close together a couple of times.
Ottenbacher not happy on the radio, to say the very least, after that one, as still 3 wide. Don't know if that's going to work around there, as several drivers are getting squeezed all the way to the very bottom of the track down the backstretch. In several cases, that can cause the loose moments. Cameron Doyle was that driver who had a bit of a loose moment. He doesn't bring out the caution, however. We still stay green as Doyle's now off the circuit.
Again, going below the line, and there's Doyle on pit road, and he's just going to elect to park it right there and take a tow back to the pits and try it again. We check back in up front. Caden Anderson has gotten around both Scott Mann and Cole Raz and is going to work on Chris White for second. Down to the bottom, Caden Anderson wants this lead right now. He's going for second.
Caution comes out, however, as it's down the front stretch. Marcy, Lowther, Garber among the cars stopped along the start and finish line.
That's big for Garber because he had already used the fast repair.
Take a look at the
replay.
Yes. Take a look at that, as Lowther was really sending it to the point where he sent it all the way to the point where Childress helped him around.
Garber gets the worst of it there. Marcy involved. Allison, was that him in the 58 getting a piece as well? Another playoff driver.
Might have been if it was, and it was close. But what a send there by Lowther to try and get some positions there. Of course, not going to stick it in turn. Several competitors now with significant damage from that. But for the drivers who stayed out as long as they have, this continues the game of who comes down to pit. Wesley, that game sees mostly everyone come in.
Yeah, it looks like the whole cavalry's coming down. The brigade is going to go to their pit crews and make those pit stops here, as we are right now smack dab on lap number 40 of this 175 lap contest here at Iowa. quickly to pit stalls. It's going to be Carl Burke staying out. Jeff Stabnow pulling into pit stall number 2. Here comes everyone else onto the pit lane, including Chris White, Cole Rass, Seth Frazier, Dan West Jr., Joshua Bill, Devin West. All these drivers right now looking like it's 4 tires. Fuel, gold number 3 also on the pit lane. Looks like that awesome throwback of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s car when he drove the Bass Pro colors. And they're all coming off the pit lane now. And look who is out first. The Undertaker retired last night at the Survivor Series after 30 years of entertainment in the wrestling business. And the pallbearer special, number 32 of Seth Frazier, only fitting to be the first one off the pit lane behind the man that didn't pit, Carl Burke, in 53.
He pit, remember, under the last caution period, 19 lap-old tires combined with the caution periods. Frazier, 2 tires, gets him this track position. Everybody else took 4. There are also 2 DNFs now, Greg. Marcy, Bozier, now off track. Walters also done for the night.
So those are your drivers out of the race. And, well, Justin, someone had to pull a Brightsman who's not in the field tonight. Someone had to do it. And no doubt it was going to be Seth Frazier, was going to be willing to give it a shot. Frazier has tried this out before on short tracks, taking 2 tires and seeing what happens. It worked for him before. Got a win at Richmond doing it, so we'll see if he can do it again here at Iowa and punch his ticket to a championship in Phoenix. By the way, I was talking to Seth early in the year. We're talking like June, right around the time our racing season started, and he told me if he can get to the championship round at Phoenix, he was very, very confident about his shot. He loves Phoenix Raceway. He loved that was where the championship is. He has a shot to get himself there if he can pull off a win tonight.
Jugo signaled that time by, expecting the 1 to go this time. Josh Childress is now among the drivers asking for your help since he's been involved with several incidents, as well as John Annenbacher. Drivers are now at risk of the incident limit at 131 to go this time. Not a good sign, because again, 16 incident points in this series, you receive a drive-through penalty. Then for every 4, you receive an additional to 24 incident points before you are disqualified.
That's big, though, with drivers being that close to the incident limit early in this one. We're not even halfway into this one. We're not even 50 laps into this one, Justin, and drivers already getting close to the incident limit. That is showing you just how aggressive this race has been. But are you at all surprised with this being the opening round of the round of 8, drivers trying to get up there, get themselves into the championship 4 early if they can, have 8 weeks or so to get ready for this race coming up in Phoenix, Arizona here shortly in January? Drivers are looking to get themselves locked in and not have to worry about it over the holidays.
Want to go signal? It's Carl Burke who stayed out on all tires in the race lead. Frazier, Stabnow, and Anderson the top 4. Cole Raz shuffled a P5 after the pit stops. Chris White will start in 7th. Right in front of him on the outside line will be Scott Mann. O'Hare, BJ Tidrick. Rounding out the top 10 is Dan West Jr. We'll have to see how the tires hold up for the number 53 machine. Pace car dropping its way back to the pit lane, 130 laps to go once more from Iowa Speedway, as the second round of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs has been wild so far. Burke with the earliest launch of them all of the night, green flag.
Carl Burke, remember, he was so close to winning a race. Was it Kansas or Michigan? I can never remember which one it was that Carl Burke was in a position to win and unfortunately jumped a restart and got a black flag, which cost him the race. Was very careful of it that time, but Seth Frazier in the number 32 going to the outside. He will take the lead on the outside and try to bring Jeff Stabnow with him, but look out because here come the boys. Caden Anderson and Cole Raz right behind him. Scott Mann right there in the mix as well.
And you have to think he's hoping for a caution flag in about 15 laps or so he in turn becomes the car, trying to cut through the field, letting everybody go on the bottom of the racetrack. Stabnow, Anderson already through. Carl Burke is now letting Cole Raz go underneath off of turn 4. Just not enough grip for that to stick. 23.8 by the drivers who just pit, making 23.2s. Carl Burke a 23.9.
Burke's showing those old tires now as he's being shuffled back there. Chris White kind of pinned behind him right now because he can't get to the bottom. Scott Mann's there. White's got to hurry up though because look who's behind him. The West family trying to come up. He will get down in front of them. Devin trying to fight back. Devin, remember, used the fast repair, but Justin, back-to-back wins for Devin West in the 5 car entering tonight.
Yep.
Trying to get up there and get 3 in a row.
Battle for second sees Caden Anderson cleared by Jeff Stabnow coming off of turn 2. They lost 0.7 of a second though to Frazier. Stabnow not giving up without a fight. Remember, there was some tension between them for the past couple races, Greg.
That goes back to Richmond, back early in the playoffs, Justin. The round number 3 of the trucks in the playoffs, those two had a lot of racing together. They were battling it out nose to tail, much like this, and then Anderson wound up in the wall off the bumper of Stabnow. Was it intentional? Not ours to say, but don't know what is going through the mind of these drivers. This is the first time they've been back together since then.
Jeff Stabnow can't get to the back end. Keep in mind, Cole Raz is closing in P4, bringing along Scott Mann and Chris White side by side with them. There's also the West Family Racing cars side by side. Cars are starting to get loose, though, on the transitions of the seams. One car around its Ryan Maines and the bottom of the grass. No caution. We stay green as he's back rolling.
Once again, off the racing surface, able to get it going into number 13 as you see the battle here for third between Jeff Stabnow and Cole Raz. Scott Mann lurking back there in the number 90 as Raz now peeking to the bottom of Stabnow. Chris White lurking there as well. And then there's Devin and Dan, the West family. They've gotten around BJ Tidrick. Remember, BJ said he was going to ride around mid-pack for the first 115 laps or so. But Justin, with everything that's happened here in this race, BJ's found himself up in the top 10 for most of the night in the Winston Ford.
He's in the top half of the field. That's very comfortable track position, to say the very least, especially since both father and son have been fighting hard. Casey Garber, unscheduled pit stop, having to come down to the 94. He was running in 18th position off the pace to the bottom of the racetrack.
Garber coming in, already had to use one fast repair, Justin, and then got caught up in that big wreck a moment ago that brought out the most recent caution. So you see the number 94 definitely not having the night that he wanted here at Iowa. Comes in, and that
Fast repair.
That looked like he had just saved the fast repair, so able to get it going. I thought for sure he'd use the fast repair after that earlier caution on the front stretch here.
The problem is that lost him a lap and now has to try and find his way to Robert Hodel for the lucky dog position. Bottom of the race lead, Anderson underneath Seth Frazier in turn 2, takes it away. And after a dominant race in the super late model race here at this circuit just a couple weeks ago, it's Caden Anderson in control of the point.
He feels like this track owes him one. By the way, as that's happened, Garber came back down pit road once again in the number 94. May have got a penalty coming on or off of pit road in the number 94, but Anderson back to the lead in the number 37. Again, he feels like this track owes him one. Looked like he had the race locked up here in the Super Late Model Series, the Northwest Tour that you can catch on Sunday night when they return at Oxford for the Oxford 250. By the way, Caden Anderson, the defending champion of that race. Oxford 200, excuse me. Got my wires crossed with the real Oxford 250, which usually happens in August. But Caden Anderson leading the way late here in the Super Late Model. Ran out of fuel inside of 10 laps to go, and he had to settle for a finish deep in the field. He feels like this track owes him one.
117 laps to go, and among the fight still. Jeff Stabnow losing a bit of ground now to the back end of Frazier. Anderson was to the back end of them. Then he started to burn up the right rear tire, it feels like. Cole Raz, Chris White, Dan West Jr. all stacking up behind him. And they're all using little variations of lines. Stabnow a bit higher up on the edge of the top seam. Right now, Raz trying to ride said seam in the middle of the splitter. Chris White preferring the bottom lines of the corners. Dan West Jr. preferring to ride the bottom seam.
We're seeing this different lines with the drivers, and that is a product of this incredible racing surface that the developers here at Iowa have come up with to give us this multi-groove racing like this. You don't see racing like this at very many tracks here on the iRacing world, and you don't get to see cup cars here at this racetrack at all, except for here on iRacing. So this is something unique, and I love seeing it here tonight as you see this battle going on between White and Raz, and then Dan West Jr. creeping in the picture as well, the pole sitter in that number 55 winner here on Thursday in the truck race. But this is so much fun being in Iowa. I know a lot of drivers are looking forward to being done just because of the sheer amount of time they've spent at this racetrack. 4 different races for some of these drivers in this field, including Cole Raz in the number 10. He won the development series race, the one that kicked it off here for the Northwest in Iowa. So he is looking to get a win on the Cup Series and bookend the week here at Iowa. He won the development series race last Friday. Looking to pick up a win on Monday to close the year out at Iowa.
By the way, Dan West Jr. falling back from the battle because he clipped the apron a couple laps ago. 112 to go this time as they still stagger around through the corners. Biggest mover so far tonight is Frank Harris. Plus 15 for the number 11. He has not had any bad luck tonight. He's been able to keep his car clean for the most part.
That's big for Frank Harris because, like we said, he has had some abysmal luck lately in the number 11. By the way, he's in 17th. Look who he's passing right now, Justin. Look who he just passed. The guy who restarted here up as the control car, Carl Burke, the driver who stayed out in that number 53. That's showing you just how much those old tires are worn out here on that number 53. Restarted up at the front, but has fallen all the way back to 16th as a result of this long green flag run.
Yeah, Frank Harris just about cleared him, then let him go. Harris, I think, doesn't quite realize that he can pass by pretty easily here. He doesn't need to fight this hard with the tires as old as they are in Burke's. Could just do exactly that, what he just did off the corner of 4. Ricky Bozier looking to follow suit. Pardon me.
Sorry, Justin. Bozer there after using the fast repair. Paulison there as well. Dan Lowther, a couple playoff drivers. I was watching the battle for second, which is heated up as Stabnow and White have caught up to Frazier. There they are on screen. Frazier again. Remember, he took 2 tires on that last restart as they catch up to a lap car. That's the 27 of Hagan that Caden Anderson goes around. 1 car going around there on the bottom. Was that Hodel going around there in car number...
Yes, it was.
Yep,
the 39. Yes, he is still trying to get going. No caution, all underneath the yellow line. And as long as he gets up towards speed, there will be no yellow. It looks like there will be no caution flag for the spin off the corner. He is back off and rolling.
That was a little close, though, for Comfort as he got up above the yellow line, not quite back up to speed. We checked back in with this battle for second. Remember, we were talking about it. Frazier took 2 tires on that restart, and you can see now it's starting to fall off as Anderson has opened it up. Stabnow and White. White losing ground a little bit, though, in that number 83. Stabnow beginning to put pressure again on the 32 of Frazier.
Scott Mann, by the way, has elected to roll his car off to the pit lane, unscheduled stop. He had some damage to the front grille. That may mean Scott Mann may be done for the night. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Still, Seth Frazier currently holding on to second, but it's a 1.2 second gap and growing between him and Caden Anderson. Stabnow at the bottom of the racetrack trying to make any type of groove work along the bumps. It's not been working, though. All of them have been trying to run near the wall now on the top line to carry momentum off the corner.
White, though, noticeably going lower in the number 83, still trying to make a move on Stabnow. But it seems like every time White's able to get a run, that happens. He loses just a little bit of ground to Stabnow and Frazier, and he has to spend the next half a lap or so fighting to get it back. A little bit of a bobble there out of Stabnow that time, which allows White to close it back in. There he is once again, and Scott Mann has loaded it up on the trailer, and we'll call it a night in the number 90. That is confirmed officially, as Frazier continues to hold on for second. While this is going on, Caden Anderson has opened it up about 1.3 seconds over this battle. Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnow, Chris White still in striking distance. If Stabnow can get around Frazier, he's still in striking distance of Anderson, but Anderson trying to open it up a little bit more as White again trying that low line.
And that time Stabnow tried to arc it off the corner, got way loose. And I think at this point, once more, these drivers are really putting too much wheel into the car, you'd have to think, Greg, because the fall off already is 1.5 seconds for this group. Anderson is a 10th quicker than anyone else in the field at the moment.
Anderson is opening up 1.4 seconds. I'm checking in with a number 10 of Cole Raz. Remember earlier he was kind of diamonding the corner a little bit. Hasn't done that lately in the number 10. Riding in the middle groove right now, not diamonding the corner. So Cole Raz maybe just trying to settle things in and get ready for a run to the finish. We're going to be 100 laps to go. Not this time, but next time by 100 to go.
Longest green flag run of the race so far, as still traffic is about to come into play. Remember, Ryan Main spun around on the front stretch, did not bring out a caution flag. He'll be the first driver up for grabs to be lapped, as he is 23 seconds behind the race leader. And when the traffic comes into play, if this continues with the pace, it could get thick, because say we go in our 30-40 laps, that gets potentially the whole grouping up to 12th up for grabs for drivers to be lapped by the leaders.
Shows you just how much the tire fall off is affecting these guys at the back. One car off the pace on the bottom. It's Josh Childress in the number 97. He has some damage, and he might be coming down pit road in that number 97. His night has been a struggle. 5 laps down. He's coming down as well to 39. So a couple more cars coming down pit road.
Soto Esports car going right down and cutting through all the pit boxes. You can't technically do that, by the way, in real life. You can guess why. Childress did have 58 seconds of repairs just a few laps ago on that pink Dollar General machine. A rough night for him so far, to say the very least. By the way, how important do you feel spotters and communication with their drivers and your teammates, let's say, could be for a race such as this, to make sure you know how things are flowing, and knowing, say, you've got cars with damage and know that points are on the line and being swinging back and forth? Seth Frazier had that opportunity with Eric Cheney earlier on tonight, for example.
Yeah, spotting is going to be crucial from this moment on for our playoff drivers, because they have the eyes on the stuff that they can. It's important every single race, no doubt, but to have one here if you're in the spot for the playoff, like Frazier, who got help from Eric Cheney. He's helping out Tidrick and Lowther as well. So Cheney kind of spotting back and forth, bouncing off different radio frequencies with these guys to say, hey, I'm helping them out. I'm making sure they stay out of trouble. He's done a pretty nice job, because Frazier and Tidrick are both riding around in the top right now. Chris White just had problems.
Major slide off the corner. Dan West Jr. takes advantage. PJ Tidrick is also now moving. Once again, that strategy of riding in the back, well, it's now right up at the front. Tidrick to P5.
Just taking advantage, Justin, of circumstances that we've seen for the 72. Again, he told me before the race he was going to ride around until about lap 115, 120, but with everything that happened, he was like, okay, guess I'll just kind of ride around 8th or so. Now he's worked his way into the top 5. The confidence beginning to show now on that number 72 of Tidrick, and we know when BJ has confidence, he can get up there and run pretty well with these guys.
They also have Josh Childress, by the way, who has to cut through. Remember, he had that incident limit already reached and then had to come down again. Did take some tires on for that race car. He's going to have to try and lap himself 7 times to try and have any sort of shot on this one. Will be a tough hill to climb. Jeff Hagan, the only driver 1 lap down in this race. The biggest mover still is Frank Harris, by the way, who is now up to 14th position and is in a fight hard right now with Bruce Weaver in the midst of hard traffic with some of the other cars who have had to come down for unscheduled stops.
Just got around Roy Grande into number 18, now trying to track down Weaver into number 40. Remember, Weaver picked up a win at Michigan. Harris still being shut out here in the number 11 this season, but a nice run thus far, already up 17 positions. At number 11, going now for Weaver to try to make it 13th position on track. Robert Odell has retired from the race in the number 39 as Harris continues to battle.
Jeff Hagan also making a pit stop after only 40 laps on the stint. Keep in mind, and this is something I don't think we were quite planning for, but with this track, with its history of long runs, might come into play. Fuel runs. Because you can go about 80 laps if drivers don't have moments. Bruce Lee Weaver spun around nearly in front of Frank Harris, lost 3 positions as a result.
And Frank Harris is going to be thinking his lucky stars that he got through it, because that right there is the kind of stuff that has plagued Frank Harris this season. As you watch the battle right now for third, Jeff Stabnow, he's lost the air or the oomph in his tires because West Jr. rockets around him into number 55. Stabnow comes fighting back and bringing BJ Tidrick with him, though, as West Jr. But I'm impressed with Frazier being able to hold on with these 2 tires. Made Stabnow use up the good in his tires, and now they may have hit that plateau, Justin, where they aren't quite the same, or there's not quite the advantage anymore. Now they're starting to hold on.
Contact as Jeff Stabnow hits BJ Tidrick up the track. Halfway this time by. Keep in mind, 90 laps on the tanks. Drivers can't make it on fuel from where we started with the run. 60 laps expected for the tires. For several competitors in open competition with long distances, say for 160 laps, the strategy usually is to split it towards the halfway mark. It's the matter of when drivers will come down. It's been an interesting one so far from Iowa. 87 laps to go. Stabnow after that contact shuffled to 5th.
Just past halfway here, Justin, coming to complete lap number 89 this time by Anderson leading. He's up 2 seconds now over Frazier.
Taking side by side, you're watching and listening to LSR TV and CRN Sports for coverage of the Northwest Racing Series and its Cup Series presented by Wells Beer Co. and LSR TV. For the first round, for the second round, rather, opener for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs, it's Anderson in the lead over Frazier, West Jr., Tidrick, and Stabnow.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com.
80 laps to go this time by as Caden Anderson controls the field once more from Iowa Speedway. This is coverage of the Northwest Cup Series presented by Wallace Beer Co. and LSR TV, your home for sim racing for race 1 of round 2 of the West Bay Napa Auto Parts Playoffs on LSR TV and CRN Sports. Justin Prince, Greg Wentz, Wesley Upland with you with Charles Wooden in the director's seat. Right now, we are approaching that window for the tire mark. In about 5 laps, we are inside the mark to make it on the gas. These competitors, it's going to be interesting when they elect to come in because there's the risk, Greg, of if there's a caution, they may get pinned for the rest of this race under a laps down minimum. They will lose at least a lap and a half.
There was a race earlier in the week on LSR TV. I believe it was the Ezra Pro race that happened. We had a late caution on a late pit stop cycle, and all of a sudden, about half the field was pinned a lap down, and they only had like 6 or 7 cars a lap down. Actually, excuse me, that was not the Ezra race. That was the truck race right here on Thursday that happened, that we wound up having like 7 trucks left on the lead lap at the time of the caution. With cautions in Lucky Dog, we wound up at 12 on the lead lap at the end. So that is very, very much a possibility here in this one.
Again, Anderson leads by 2.7 seconds. Dan West Jr. is in 3rd. Seth Frazier 2nd. BJ Tidrick in 4th. Jeff Stabno, Chris White, Stefano Air. Then there's Cole Raz, who is really falling off. Keep in mind, he does have some right side door damage, or left side rather, but has really also been one of the drivers who really have put in tons of wheel. Devin West, back and forth with him at the moment.
Devin West had a couple big moments earlier in this one, like 3 or 4 laps ago. Right around the time he came back, he's going to clear Cole Raz this time in that number 5 car. Had 2 wins in a row entering tonight in that number 5 after coming up so close so many times. Devin finally broke through at Richmond and then followed it up at Charlotte last race out. Devin looking for it.
Pit stops are starting to become scheduled. Tyler Kane in and out just now. So it becomes the matter of, do you go for the undercut or the overcut? Wesley, your thoughts on the pit strategies coming up here? Again, we are in that window to make it on gas.
Well, the thing is this, we talked about it when we came on the air. We've seen this cycle of so many cautions, and now we have this long stretch of a green flag run. So a lot of the drivers and crews that I spoke with on the pit lane, as you keep saying that number 90, they're saying they can go 90 laps on a tank of fuel. However, tire wear is going to get used up a lot quicker. So the question is, do you come down to the pit lane to take on new tires, or do you try to stay out to stretch it and go on 30 laps extra old tires to try to also do that fuel conservation? It'll be interesting to see how the strategy turns out as we approach the final 5 laps.
Pit stops now underway for Joshua Beal. He is now off to the pit lane as well towards your direction, Wesley. So just like that, he's going for the undercut.
Yeah, here comes Bill in the number 3 machine. He's going to go to his pit stall, and we're going to check and see what he's going to do here. If it's going to be 4 tires already on the right side, the old tires going off. They're going to go to the left side now. Looks like he's going to take on tires all of the way around. 4 tires, filling up the tank so we know Bill can go to the finish. Also, Ricky Bozier's on pit lane. Cameron Doyle is on pit lane, and James Vining. So all these drivers currently on pit road, having service done, and we still have the 3 cars still on pit road. I find that kind of abnormal, but nonetheless, we still continue to see Caden Anderson leading Seth Frazier, who's now in 2nd.
So several cars electing to have pit stops there. Ricky Bozier, by the way, has elected to park his car. He is now out of his number 42 at the moment. Still 69 laps to go, and still Chris White among the drivers who is probably thinking, what if? It was a crazy final race of the first round, as we talked about at Charlotte. Chris White was a championship favorite with the momentum in the second half of the season, and now, what do you think Chris White's thinking in his head at the moment, knowing he's had good pace tonight, and if it wasn't for his bad luck last week, he might be still in contention?
Right now, he's thinking, I'm going to win every single race from here on out and show why I was a playoff driver, why I was one of the championship favorites, why I was one of the first drivers to lock in. And unfortunately for him, again, just came up a little bit short with the bad luck at Charlotte. He's looking for redemption right now in that number 83, and that's all he can think about is trying to get win after win after win after win to finish out the season here this year in the Northwest Cup Series.
Fresh tires of Tyler King passing on by. More pit stops underway. Frank Harris had to angle his way into the pit box, Wesley.
Yeah, Frank Harris is on pit lane in the number 11 machine. Very cattywampus, if you will, for his pit stop whenever he came in for 4 tires and fuel. A couple of other drivers, including Devin West. If he's going for that shot of 3 Cup wins in a row, he better go to the whip and make something happen. Right now, he's inside the top 20 a lap down, as well as Josh Childress, also another one of those drivers, several laps down on the pit lane. Chris White is on pit road now, guys. He gives up the 7th position in the car number 83, so now the SimStar Motorsports entry will join the rest of the flock of drivers on the pit lane. Taco Roy Grande in the number 18 machine also coming in, giving up a top 15 run to also take on pit stops. So we are starting to see this transition of, okay, they could probably go to the end on fuel, but it's the tire wear. And the tires, as they always say, even from the movie Days of Thunder, from Harry Hogg, is what win races.
And as well, if we stay green, it's going to be the big kicker. John Annenbacher coming in this time by as well, by the way, in the 89 machine. So, very active pit lane still. Anderson has stretched the gap as a result during the stint, though, by an extra second, now 3 seconds, the gap with the traffic.
So Anderson opening it up right now. Stephen Paulson going to make the left turn on to pit road now from the 8th position. Here comes Paulson in the Jim Bean entry coming down pit road. See right there, our drivers on pit road still making headway as Ottenbacher gets it going. That's Cameron Doyle there. Another car coming down behind him. Believe
Carl Burke.
I saw that correct. Carl Burke, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, John Ottenbacher just come down to the pit lane, guys. 4 tires and fuel for the LSR TV number 89 machine. Carl Burke onto the pit lane. Stephen Paulson, as you just mentioned, Greg, all coming in, making these pit stops again. So like I said, you know, you might have been able to go to the distance on fuel, but I think the tire wear is so much more important because honestly, when they start using up these tires, they have more of a risk of spinning out and crashing and bringing out a caution. Here comes Caden Anderson. He'll give up the lead in the number 37 entry. And you know, Greg, and he's come so close, Justin, to wanting to win on the Northwest competition, whether it be the Cups, whether it be truck competition, and even in the Northwest iRacing Super Late Model Tour on Sunday nights. He comes so close to winning here at Iowa in the Super Late Model race, and he ran out of fuel. So a good run so far for Caden Anderson, trying to get that proverbial virtual monkey off his back and get a chance to win here at Iowa.
He's off and away, and the interesting thing is he sacrificed a lot of time with the most conservative pit entry of the day so far. 8 drivers yet to pit, make it 7. Dan West Jr. coming in from the top 5.
He came in hot, Justin. He came in hot.
He did. He come in really hot, and I'm wondering if they're going to be marking that to see if possibly he's going to get an EOL penalty or not, as Dan West Jr. was coming in full steam ahead. Here comes that number 55 machine, the guy that has pretty much been the dominator of the Northwest in the truck series. He did a phenomenal job in round 1. The same for the Cup. He won on Thursday night to advance himself into the next 2 months to the championship Ford Phoenix, and now he's trying to do the exact same thing right now. We'll see what he can do, as also Cole Raz, another driver that has sparked a lot of interest, overshot his pit box there for just a moment, squealed the tires, but he's in his pit stall now. So again, we're seeing these transitions. BJ Tindrick will give up second now. He'll come down onto the pit lane. He'll take on 4 tires and fuel in the Winston number 72. Last time he won a race on the series was, it seems like, many moons ago in that crazy controversial race we had at Darlington. Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnow, Stephen O'Hare have not pitted. And again, there's still a couple of others in the top 10 that have either yet to come down either.
5 drivers are currently yet to pit who have the whole field pinned 1 lap down. Frazier, Stabnow, O'Hare, Lowther, and Weaver are the drivers who can stretch it up to 13 more laps on the gas. Keep in mind that Anderson already about to try and get some spots 3 wide to try and get towards where he can unlap himself. And keep in mind, if it gets too chaotic here, this will completely change the entire complexion of this race.
Hayden Anderson currently in the lucky dog position right now in the number 37. In P6, who one car getting very close to the wall up there. That was the 27 of Hagan, and Stephen O'Hare almost got in the back of him, able to keep it going. Still no sign of anyone coming down pit road left in those top 5. Again, the top 5, the only drivers left that have yet to come down. Bruce Lee Weaver in the number 40 just went a lap down to Seth Frazier, but he still has yet to pit in the number 40. We're keeping an eye on him to see when he comes down, but 4 cars left on the lead lap. Weaver now the lucky dog in the number 40, but he has yet to pit, Justin.
And that gap is shrinking and quickly. Keep in mind as well, because Grande, Burke, and Raz, along with Anderson, are with the back end. This is a couple car lengths in front of Jeff Stabnow. It's chaotic right now where Seth Frazier is. Because if you look towards the 32, it is about 3 wide with some of the fresh tire cars wanting their laps back with some of the different cycles. We're talking 10, 15 lap undercuts by some of these competitors on the racetrack.
And remember, Justin, how I mentioned earlier that if someone was going to pull a Brightsman, I thought it was going to be Frazier. He took the 2 tires. What else did Brightsman do recently? His win at Charlotte in the Truck Series that made him the all-time winner in Northwest Racing Series competition. It came doing exactly what Seth Frazier's doing right now, staying out as long as he possibly can to try to catch the caution. Was able to, and all he had to do was try to make it the rest of the way off a fresh pit stop, and he was able to do it. He did do it there. Frazier trying to do it here in the 32, go as long as he can. By the way, Caden Anderson has unlapped himself in the 37.
He nearly, however, hit Jeff Hagan, who had an incident down the front stretch, then nearly pushed up the track off of turn 3, trying to roll to the apron. He's now in the pit lane. He was 38 laps, twisted tires. So for these competitors, we're approaching 50 laps to go this time by. They can make it another 7 laps at the very most on the tank expected for this one. I'm on the drivers next to try and get a lap back as Paulison. He is 2 laps down, the first in that grouping. Currently, 5th on back is still 1 lap down.
4 cars on the lead lap. Of those 4, 3 have yet to pit. Those being Frazier, Stabnow, and O'Hare. Stephen O'Hare and Jeff Stabnow, by the way, they are still battling for position right now, as they are locked in a battle and have been for about the last 15 laps or so for second. They're coming off turn number 4 right now. Stabnow and O'Hare battling it out. We talked about the history between Stabnow and Anderson. These two also have some history, Justin, dating back into the Truck Series as well. They're battling it out for second right now. Stabnow and O'Hare still going the battle. Both of them going very, very high on the racetrack, whereas the likes of Devin West, who just got around them, they're able to hold the bottom. So the drivers on top still trying to hold on and conserve those tires as long as possible.
Right now, hoping. Big time for a caution. They nearly got one down the backstretch. It's Jeff Hagan. He is looping it down the backstretch in the 27. He spun off the racetrack. No caution. He's back rolling. He just pit a lap ago.
Hagan able to get it going, and he's still below the apron, so he's just going to stay down there. This is not going to trigger a caution with him being down there below the apron. He's just going to bring it on the pit road in that number 27. No, he's going to stay out. Oh, no, he is coming down. Almost missed the entry. Wow. So Frazier, O'Hare, and Stabnow, they almost caught the break they were looking for, and for those on back, they catch a break.
That could have been absolutely huge. Meanwhile, Frazier, O'Hare, Stabnow, again the top 3. O'Hare is currently now in front of Stabnow after all that craziness by 0.6 of a second. Looking towards the pit lane, expecting them to come in within the next 2 laps. Keep in mind, Dan Lowther and Bruce Lee Weaver are also yet to pit, but they are pinned a lap down.
That just shows you just how much quicker Frazier, O'Hare, and Stabnow are right now. O'Hare has gotten around Stabnow, who has lost a lot of ground. I'm expecting the 24 of Stabnow on pit road the next lap and a half or so to see if he comes down because of the sheer amount of ground he's lost to O'Hare and ground that they are losing to the likes of Anderson, West, and White, who have unlapped themselves. Lowther and Weaver, they're still out there trying to limp it as long as they can. Boy, Bruce Lee Weaver is holding on barely in that number 40, Justin. I think we're going to see Weaver come to pit road here before anyone else in this number 40 car.
Meaning not to try to this point as Frazier extends it by a lap past the estimated mark. None of the drivers stretching in quite yet. Again, they cannot realistically, from what we have been told, make it on gas, and based on past data, we'll see if anyone peeks down to the bottom side. Frazier lets by Tidrick, looking to arc it on down. Thought about it maybe as he tries to ramp it.
Thought about it, but decided not to. Stabnow is going to get pinned here. He wouldn't have been able to get down there even if he wanted to because Weaver was there on the inside of him. So they're going to have to stretch it another lap.
It's going to be intriguing. Keep in mind, Caden Anderson will cycle to the race lead by a big margin, to say the least, in front of these cars staying out. He's right now just 14 seconds or so behind the top three. He has about a 4-second advantage over Dan West Jr., then a 3-second gap from West Jr. to Chris White. West Jr. with the freshest tires out of that grouping. Tidrick, mind you, also is closing in on those drivers with 17 lap-old tires. 40 to go this time. And again, they are still extending this to the very, very end in case anything happens.
They do not want to come down until they are out of fuel right now, Justin, because they want to be there to capitalize if something happens, because it's been long enough now, and you're going to have these guys coming in for those tires that everyone's going to have to pit because they don't want to give up any track position to these guys with the amount of differential that they will have. Now, one car coming down, but it was not one of the guys coming down. It was Ryan Maines in the 13 coming down on pit road, who was two laps down in that number 13, so he's going to come down and get some more repairs done to him. But if you're these three right now, Frazier, O'Hare, and Stabnow, if you can catch a caution, you're going to break away scot-free here because everybody else is going to have to pit because of the amount of difference on these tires.
Yeah, some of these drivers are running about 30 laps into their runs. Some of them have already been pinned 2 laps down if there was to be trouble. Josh Childress, by the way, has also had to come back to the pit lane. More than a minute of damage on the 97 machine. Off and away is Maines, currently in 21st position. Down the back straightaway, trouble. Bruce Lee Weaver pinballs up the track. Caution is out, and the field is now in chaos.
And that works out for Frazier, O'Hare, and Stabnow. It worked. And Dan Lowther will be the lucky dog in the number 63. It works out for him too, as Devin West had just gotten past Seth Frazier to unlap himself under green. That gives Lowther the lucky dog.
And take a look at this. Wow.
And might I add, gentlemen, he's one of those cars that was supposed to have pitted.
Yeah.
He was mired in the top 10. We were talking about tires.
Might have had the tire, once he was trying to get on the gas rather, Greg, as soon as he hit it, just snapped out on him, and now it's chaotic time. Pit lane is open. Wesley, to you.
After almost a 95-lap green flag stint, here comes Seth Frazier. He will get ready to come down to the pit lane. Stephen O'Hare will follow, along with Jeff Stabnow and the rest of the ants marching in on the pit lane. 4 tires and fuel ready to bring this one to the finish. 35 laps to go. Seth Frazier, what a job for him today in car 32. Caden Anderson trying to pick up the pieces, if you will. Overshot his pit box, got back in there. Dan West Jr.'s in. Jeff Stabnow's in. 4 tires, fuel. Dan West Jr., Chris White, Seth Frazier, down and away. Aiden Anderson, Stabnow, West, Tidrick, O'Hare. Everybody in the top 8 taking on the money stop here when it counts the most at Iowa.
Something happened to O'Hare, guys. Stephen O'Hare just now left his pit box. Stephen O'Hare may have got a penalty.
And that would be a big-time mistake for the 41 machine, but On the right side, there's only 9 cars on the lead lap, including down low there being the lucky dog. The cause for O'Hare, by the way, I believe he overran his pit box by half a stall to the point where he was actually blocking one of the garage entrances / exits for the racetrack. Here's the interesting mark. A lot of drivers not taking the risk, like Carl Burke, Nick Bellamy and company, to take fresh tires and battle for the lucky dog. But the majority of the drivers, despite being on 20 to 40 lap old tires, banking on there being an air caution to have any sort of shot of this one. We're talking about 33 or so laps to go when we get back rolling.
Taking the wave around. So this is going to once again throw even more chaos on top of the chaos. Let's just take this chaos fire and throw some more gasoline on it, because now you're going to have a bunch of drivers out there on these older tires that just took the wave around to get themselves back on the lead lap. You're going to see 18 cars on the lead lap now after only 3 being on the lead lap when this caution came out.
This is going to be absolutely chaotic. Let's put it that way, because it's not easy to start on old tires. We've seen tires spin on fresh tires tonight. How does this even play out in your opinion at this rate? Well, here's a better example. Wesley, I believe, is standing by.
I am. Seth Frazier, you got a copy?
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, stretching it out to almost a 95-lap green flag run on a stint with fuel and tires. What's your take of this race as we approach the final 30 laps? Can we see you go to victory lane?
I think we got a shot at it, but 37 and 55 sure are fast. Let me see what happens here.
So what was it like going through this stint of the beginning of the race, green caution, green caution, green caution? And it seemed to me, and I know you're giving credit to some other guys for sure, like Anderson and West and Stabnow, but it seemed to me like you had the strongest car in the long green flag cycle.
I think we had one of the best cars. That whole run, I was on old lefts. I was about 15 lap older lefts than everyone else too. So the car was definitely fading away there at the end. So I was pretty lucky to catch that caution. If it had cycled through, I would have been probably about 15th or 16th and stuck a lap down. So that caution really bailed me out.
Drivers taking the wave around, ready to go to the green flag next time by. I got a segue question before we go back to the restart. Seth, what would it mean for the Paul Bearer car to win after the announcement of The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, retiring after 30 years at Survivor Series last night?
It'd be a pretty good way to rest in peace.
There's the thoughts of Seth Frazier. Can he make the field rest in peace, Justin and Greg? He's got less than 30 laps to try to pull an upset win here with a strong car so far at Iowa.
Thank you, Wesley. Let's see how things play out. Again, it's Frazier and Stabnow, row 1. Row 2, Anderson and West Jr., Devin West and Chris White, row 3. O'Hare, Tidrick, row 4. Lowther and Cole Raz round out the top 10. Green flags out, back underway. Keep in mind, again, the top 9 on fresh tires who are on the lead lap. Everybody else among the drivers who took the wave. 15 cars on the lead lap.
Dan Lowther also has to contend with some lap traffic in front of him before he can get back up there to the rest of the field, as he was the lucky dog as a result of that. He had to start at the tail end of the field before the wave arounds took effect. By the way, we're 3 wide for third, as here comes White to the inside of West and Stabnow. Anderson was able to get around both of them and set sail for Frazier in the number 32. Know how strong the 37 is on the long run. Meanwhile, Devin West also creeping into the picture. He has 2 straight wins entering tonight, looking for 3 in a row. He's trying to crack the top 5 for the first time tonight.
He's been very quiet, to say the very least, this evening. But don't forget about BJ Tidrick, who's in 7th. New fastest lap set by Seth Frazier, a 23.179. Anderson with his personal best as well, a 23.190. Dan West Jr. to the inside for P3, where the lead is down to 3/10.
Purple lap to the purple car of Frazier, but right now Anderson coming after him in that number 37, trying to get up there, taking him run to the bottom. His teammate Cole Raz is currently took the wave around, but on older tires in that number 10 car. He took the wave around to get himself back on the lead lap. He's hoping for another quick caution here. It worked for Casey Garber in the 94 on the truck race on Thursday night. We'll see if it happens again here as Anderson goes to work once again on Frazier.
Put this in perspective, the drivers who took the wave around are already 4 to 5 seconds nearly behind everybody fighting on fresh tires. Anderson still setting faster lap times now compared to Frazier. Frazier preferring the high line on corner exits. Anderson preferring the middle line with 27 to go.
The car starting to come to Anderson again. We know how fast he is on the long run, but Frazier had a lot of speed on the short run, and that was with the old left side tires. We haven't seen what this 32 car has on fresh tires since early in this race, Justin. So we will see now what that 32 has on 4 fresh tires as he's battling it out with Anderson. They've pulled away almost a second now over Jeff Stabnow and company behind him. Devin West has settled in the 6th behind Chris White. BJ Tidrick, it's go time for the number 72. 25 to go this time at the line.
Hey, Justin, can I add also, Frazier wins this race, he goes to the championship 4. Somebody besides Dan West Jr. or Sean Brightsman.
All that entails on top of things too, Wesley. Tons of pressure for Frazier not to give this up, with Kenny Anderson looking to play spoiler. 3 tenths, make it about 4 tenths in 3 and 4, 24 to go. Of note, Cameron Doyle, Josh Childress both officially out of the race in the closing stages from Iowa.
2 more Wenatchee drivers, and they are now moving in to cheer on mode of another Wenatchee driver, Seth Frazier, in the number 32. Trying to pull away from Yakima's Caden Anderson in the number 37. Frazier trying to hold on and lock himself into Phoenix. Remember, Justin, he said that he thought 3 drivers were going to lock themselves in on a win to Phoenix. He was hoping to be one of those 8 or one of those 3 that were able to move on to Phoenix with a victory. Even if he doesn't, he's had a nice start here thus far. As here comes Anderson to the bottom.
Anderson with a hard charge. Frazier pushing tight. Anderson, though, forced to check up. Has to reset once more. Dives once again to the yellow line along the bumps as Frazier goes for the wider berth.
Still fighting, but Frazier trying to hold on. Anderson again to the bottom. Meanwhile, West Jr. and Stabnow go in the battle behind him, and they are also beginning to close in on this as the battle heats up here for the race lead. This allows the drivers behind them, West, Stabnow and company, to close in, and West Jr. knows it because he wants to get 3rd spot away from Stabnow. He pushes up the track just a little bit. Chris White lurking there as well. Something happened to Devin and BJ because they shuffled way back way quick.
There was apologies on the radio. I believe there may have been contact for the 5 and 72 about a lap and a half ago. But now the fighting for 3rd on back is costing them time as Anderson's back single file with under 20 laps to go this time. Seth Frazier, still your leader. BJ Tidrick and Devin West, by the way, still scrapping for P6. Way back from this top 5 grouping, it's now about a 7 tenths of a second gap between 2nd and 3rd.
Frazier with 5 wins on the season. Anderson with 1. Frazier still alive in the playoffs. Anderson missed the playoffs because he came up a little bit short in the points. Did not run a full season. Intends to run a full season next year. No doubt will be a threat every single time he enters the race. As Chris White with a big slide off of turn number 2. Frazier still trying to lock himself in to Phoenix. Came in tied for 2nd in points with Dan West Jr. with 3,005. That's virtue of the 5 wins this season. Sean Brightsman not here tonight. A chance for someone else to lock themselves in, like Wesley alluded to earlier.
Still single file among the top runners. Jeff Stabnow back into a rhythm, is starting to reel in the top 2 again. Last time at 24-3 while fighting side by side with Dan West Jr. This time by coming across the stripe as the cars in front run 24-3s. It's a 24-1 for Jeff Stabnow.
Stabnow trying to close in the number 24 and reel in Caden Anderson. Beginning to heat up. I wonder if Anderson's saving tires right now, Justin, and cooling them off for one last charge.
I mean, that would be the smart call. If you don't think there's going to be a caution, keep in mind the rate they're going, they may get some traffic with all those drivers who took the wave around under the last caution period. They are currently about a quarter of a track up the road.
Frazier beginning to open it up over Anderson just a little bit more here. It was just under 0.3 of a second last time by. Let's see what it is this time. He opens it up to over 3.5 exactly over Anderson at the line. And Stabnow beginning to go to battle with Anderson in the 37. This is what Frazier wants to see in his mirror. 15 to go.
Starting to really stretch out the gap now to half a second. Anderson really starting to fall off. Bit of trouble in the grass. It's Tyler King. We stay green. He is on the apron. He was running in that pack of wave around drivers. Now 14 cars on the lead lap.
Stabnow in third, beginning to heat it up with Anderson as Frazier put another 1/10 of a second on. Jeff Hagan coming down pit road again into number 27. For reference, Justin, Seth Frazier, 11 career victories in Northwest Racing Series competition, 5 of which have come here in the Cup cars this season. Caden Anderson, his lone victory came in the Cup car. Jeff Stabnow, all-time, 38 wins in Northwest Racing Series competition. Stabnow has 3 times more victories than Frazier and Anderson combined in that 24 right now.
12 to go. And for Anderson, he may need a little bit of luck. The tires have started to really drop off. He has been, for the past 5 laps, been a full 1/10 of a second slower. The average of the past 10 laps, nearly half a tenth slower each time around. Just the pace doesn't seem to be there anymore.
And Justin, remember what Anderson said after the race at Richmond, in which he finished second to Devin West? He asked us, how many times have I finished second this year? The answer was around 5, I believe. And here he is second again, trying to hang on for second and hopefully not lose out to Jeff Stabnow. But Anderson wants that second win. But man, oh man, he's under heavy pressure right now from Jeff Stabnow. And Seth Frazier's loving seeing it. We'll see what the gap is at the line this time. It's now 0.8 of a second.
10 laps to go from Iowa. Seth Frazier looking to punch his ticket to the championship 4 at Phoenix for the West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoffs to fight for a championship in the Northwest Cup Series. Anderson still looking to defend for a second place finish. That would be his 6th this season. While Jeff Stabnow looks to start off the round with strong points. Dan West Jr., Chris White, your current top 5. BJ Tidrick also within range of these cars. Rest of the field at least 4 seconds behind your race leader. Traffic is now only 20 car lengths up the road. They may get at the minimum to Roy Grande, John Ottenbacher, and a few others.
Remember, only Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman are your playoff drivers with playoff victories this season. As Devin West, 2 wins there to close out the round of 12. Not a playoff driver, but 2 wins catapulted him to the lead in the LSR TV Best of the Rest in the number 5. But Seth Frazier trying to lock himself into the championship round, and he said if he could get to Phoenix with a shot at the championship, he was feeling very, very good about his chances. Just 7 laps away from making that a reality.
And it is a short track too, keep in mind, and it's another unique type of short track with the dog leg. It's going to be intriguing how it all plays out. Plus, keep in mind, there's the potential of the 2020, the newest version of Phoenix Raceway up in the pipeline. That could come into play. We'd have to keep an eye on how the builds fare out in the next couple weeks. But for 6 more laps, Seth Frazier is focused on one thing: win the race. Single file along the curbing. Caution is out as someone spins. 2 cars involved. It's the lap cars of Garber, also with Beal.
Casey Garber and Josh Beal getting together. Us here in the Spokane area know this could get interesting. Take a look at the swag replay. Stephen Paulson in front of him, playoff driver. Yep, little bit of bump. Beal slides up. Barely catches the wall, and ooh, Garber. Beal get together.
Bit of a rookie mistake there. Sliding up wasn't even close to clear. Taking a look, listen on board. And even then, he didn't even lift, seeing that even happening to his right. So that just changed everything. A green-white checkered finish may decide it. Pit lane is active, and Chris White is rolling the dice, Wesley.
Yeah, Chris White stayed out, gentlemen. He's going to be the man to be the wild card in this factor here. But here comes Seth Frazier, Caden Anderson, Jeff Stabnow, West Jr., Devin West, Sun, Tidrick, Lowther, Raz, Paulison, Ottenbacher, Grande, O'Hare, and Harris. Everybody in the top 15 except for Chris White coming in. Some are going for 4 tires. Some are going for 2 tires. And this now has Seth Frazier leaving the pit lane first. He's going to come out second. Could Chris White be a sitting duck, and could we be going to overtime?
And at this mark, can say yes. 2 tires for Frazier and Anderson, along with Tidrick and Devin West. Bruce Weaver stays out. He has currently scored 6. Dan Lowther took 2 tires. He was the lucky dog, remember, before. Dan West Jr., 4 tires with Jeff Stabnow. Cole Raz, for whatever reason, after being a wave-around car with 30-40 lap old left side tires, took 2. Everyone else took their 4. I don't know if Chris White's going to be able to hold on to this here, Greg.
This is going to be scary because Seth Frazier in that number 32, we saw what he had on 2 tires earlier. That was about 15 laps differential. This one's a little bit different, though. This is roughly 30 or so laps difference on this tire. So it's not quite the same variable here with Frazier this time, but you gotta have someone roll the dice. Brightsman's not here. Frazier and Anderson rolling the dice on 2 tires. White trying to stay out and steal one.
Here's the concern again. We've seen how quickly it backfired for Carl Burke. He only lasted maybe half a straightaway, or rather the back straightaway, before he lost in 3 and 4. I don't know if Chris White's going to be able to fully defend this when this green flag flies. And this is going to be wild, too, with all the drivers on the different strategies to see if everyone's able to hold on to it, mind you, as the GWC is official, 1 of 2 attempts coming up.
We've seen drivers spin the tires on 4 fresh tires. This thing could get very interesting in a heartbeat. We're going to have 15 cars on the lead lap when we go green. Josh Beal is going to stay out to take the wave around in the number 3 after being involved in the caution.
And Jeff Stabnow, end of longest line penalty. He has reached the incident mark. So the 24 will have to go and serve a penalty, or at least in a longest line scenario now. That's going to be hurtful for the points. Can shuffle him as far back as 15th. As for whatever reason, Beal, who takes the wave, speeds by the pace car and goes to pit lane instead. That's not how wave arounds work, by the way.
Well, he has instead just parked it on pit road here, and he might be calling it a day in the number 3, the 112.
1 to go.
Lights are out on the pace car. Justin, buckle up.
Confirmed, Stabnow has to serve a black flag after being in the top 5 in the closing stages. But get your popcorn out, because this could be the wildest restart of the playoffs yet. Chris White on 35 lap old tires brings them to the green on the inside of the front row. Seth Frazier on 2 tires in second. Then it's Anderson and Devin West both on 2 tires in row 2. Tidrick on 2 tires is in row 3, with Dan West Jr. on 4 tires starting in 6th. Dan Lowther's on 2 tires in 7th. O'Hare on fresh tires in 8th. 2 tires but very old left sides for Cole Raz in 9th. Paulison on fresh 4 tires in 10th. Pace car is off. Most important start yet. Chris White brings them to the edge of the restart box. 2 laps to go from Iowa.
Does a nice job getting through the gears early. Meanwhile, Frazier has enough room to get down in front of Anderson, but he's going to instead elect to get a big run on the outside. Frazier back to the lead in the 32.
Frazier nearly spun it around down the back straightaway, though. White still defending. Race is official. If they take the white flag, Frazier leads now by 0.3 of a second as he
There's
takes...
contact!
Will they get the white? No! Caution!
And Devin West is up to second.
Cade Anderson and several more cars slamming into the wall. Ottenbacher, more scattered around the front stretch. Dan West Jr. was in it.
This is going to shake up the points big time. Take a look at the swag replay. White breaks loose, coming through turn 3. Right there, he pushes up the track, gets into Anderson. They get together. Titter got a piece, West got a piece. Lowther, you see him going around there. Being hard in the wall. Wow, the 44. I think the only 2 drivers that got through that scot-free are Frazier and Devin West.
What in the world with that situation still for Chris Wine? I'm not quite sure. John Ottenbacher, end of longest line penalty, has reached the incident limit. There was also contact under the caution flag. Bruce Lee Weaver ran into the back end of Dan Lowther, apparently was not looking where he was going. So, I'd like to remind you, if we get the caution flag before the white, race is official, ends under caution. There's a chance that may happen. Wesley, your thoughts as this has turned into Calamity Corner?
Well, it's definitely going to shake up the points for a run for a championship for a lot of these West Bay Napa Auto Parts playoff contenders. And, man, craziness. That's the only word I can think of. Craziness.
I mean, that's the word I've been screaming in my head for about 10, 20 minutes now. That just took out for DNFs now from the caution flag to Roy Grande, Ryan Maines. And of course, Ottenbacher, as mentioned, has that penalty coming up for that incident where he lost his motor in the process. He has not even come in to fix it yet, so he might be done in general. So at this point here, Greg, do you think Frazier's got enough to hold on for 2 more laps, or at least one more attempt at a GWC to try and take the CRN 1 to go?
Have to see what he's got. Fresh my memory, Justin. I'm having a hard time. What did Devin West do on that last pit stop? Did he take 2 or 4?
2.
I can't remember.
He took 2.
Okay, so he's on 2. Anderson on 2. Titterick on 2 with damage. West Jr. still back there in the number 55, but
On 4.
heavy damage. Heavy
4.
damage, but on 4. Lowther took 2. No, I think Frazier and West are going to have to settle this between them because Anderson's got damage in the 37. I think this is a 2-horse race now.
And I don't think Frazier's going to make this easy again for Devin West. Yes, he's won back-to-back races, but this may be his way to punch the ticket into the postseason and not have to stress out over the holidays the next couple weeks.
Frazier talked about it time and time again. Said, I can get to Phoenix, like my chances. He calls Phoenix his best track. He won there in the Northwest Tour this past winter. Knows how to get it done in the Arizona desert. Lock himself in. Just 2 laps away from it. But Devin West, he's looking for 3 in a row.
Tyler Kane is now also out of the race. Half the field has DNF. More than half the field, in fact. We're coming up to the 1 to go signal. To reset, there are 13 cars still in the lead lap, expecting 12 to take the green as John Ottenbacher still has a blown motor. It's Seth Frazier in the race lead. He's controlled the tempo for the second half of this race after stretching the fuel window to the very edge of the tank and getting a timely caution flag after an incident for Bruce Lee Weaver. He'll start alongside Devin West in row 1. Caden Anderson starts in 3rd with BJ Titterick in 4th. Dan West Jr. is the first driver on 4 tires, but significant damage on the 55. But Dan Lowther with back-end damage after being hit by Bruce Lee Weaver under caution in 6th. Cole Raz is up to 7th. O'Hare starts in 8th on 4 tires. Frank Harris may have his best run all year in 9th. Paulus in 10th. Weaver and White are the last drivers on the lead lap with a shot to win this race.
Hey, Justin, by the way, don't forget, Devin West trying to go for 3 wins in a row on the Northwest Cup Series. Richmond, Charlotte, could it be tonight at Iowa?
It'd be a heck of a story. And for Seth Frazier, he's looking for his first win since August 31st at Auto Club. 2 laps to decide it. We're back on our way.
Frazier able to get a nice jump on the initial go in the 32. Devin gonna have that outside line though. Frazier again breaks loose. Remember, this is it. Final attempt at a green-white checker. Can Devin
Trouble,
get to the
turn
bottom?
2. Several cars hitting the walls. No caution yet as Stabnow spins. Now Weaver's spun.
Caution.
They'll take the white flag and the caution together for the CRN1 to go. Seth Frazier is your winner at Iowa.
And he is through to the playoffs. And when the caution came out, he had about a nose on Devin West. Frazier is going to Phoenix.
All he needs to do is take the checkered. And what a call by him and several others. That completely changed the race after what was a dominant start of the race for Anderson. The strategy pays off for Frazier.
And what a performance from Seth Frazier. Stretches it to the bare minimum on his fuel. And now he's going to compete for a championship as they come across the line. Seth Frazier is going to win his 6th race of the season.
And his first since August. And what a fitting race. And what a fitting way to punch his ticket. He's the first of the championship for competitors locked into Phoenix.
Frazier gets it done here tonight in the cornfields of Iowa. Gets congratulations from Cole Raz, his teammates BJ Tidrick and Dan Lowder coming up to say hello. Dan West Jr., Frank Harris, but Seth Frazier going to a championship. BJ Tidrick, the 2nd highest finishing playoff driver, and 4th with Dan Lowder. All 3 drivers in Team Ramrod get top 5s tonight, Justin.
Celebration time is underway. Several different thanks and taps from competitors alike. And the Paul Bearer machine gets to celebrate down the front stretch. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results as Frank Harris also looks for his 5 minutes of fame. He had a heck of a race. We'll see why in a second. Seth Frazier wins by 0.3 of a second under caution over Devin West, with Caden Anderson taking home the final step on the podium. BJ Tidrick comes away with the top 5, but Dan Lowder rounding out the top 5. Stephen O'Hara comes home in 6th after starting in 25th. Cole Raz has his worst finish of the season so far in 7th. Dan West Jr. in 8th. What a storyline for Frank Harris. He has been involved in just about every caution this season. Now, after so much bad luck, he finally gets something momentum-wise his way. A P9 from 32nd. He and Chris White round out the top 10.
Final car on the lead lap was playoff driver Steven Paulison in number 58, comes home in 11th. Carl Burke in the 53, 1 lap down in 12th. Bruce Lee Weaver, Nick Bellamy, and Jeff Stabnow end up 1 lap down in 15th position. For Jeff Stabnow, after being in the top 5 late, that penalty bites him. John Ottenbacher had the damage, finishes in 16th with Taco Bell Roy Grande 17th. Tyler King, Ryan Maines, and Josh Field, your top 20.
21st spot tonight goes to Casey Garber, a DNF 16 laps down. Jeff Hagan had a rough one. 22nd, 17 laps down after several spins on the apron. Josh Childress hit the incident limit 23rd, 54 laps down, while Ricky Bozier parked it about halfway to the race. Then Toby Ritters parked it a few laps before that, 25th. Robert Hordell after an incident, 26th. Scott Mann parked it after damage in the top 10 in 27th. Joshua Marcy involved in a big incident with Cameron Doyle, 28th and 29th. While Corey Walters, a bad race tonight, finishes in 30th. Rest of the field, James Vining, Scott Hutchinson both made the starts, but Scott Hutchinson had several dozen technical issues, could not turn more than 5 laps. Vining was involved in the first cautions of the night to fly more than 5 feet above the air before he smacked down to the pavement. DNSs for Kevin Smith and Dale Warnerberg. An intriguing one from Iowa tonight, and I think the celebrations are about to get underway. For Caden Anderson, though, it's a question of what if. You'd have to think right now for that respective driver. He and several others are already standing by. In fact, Leslie is with Caden Anderson.
Hayden, your thoughts on tonight's race at Iowa? You'll settle for third. Man, definitely a crazy event. And this track seems like it's one that's just got a monkey wrench on for you. You're trying so hard to win at this place in the iRacing Super Late Model Tour, the trucks, the Cup. How do you feel about being on the podium for third?
I'm actually pretty happy with the third finish. I mean, I haven't really finished the last few races in the top 5, but bring home a place finish was pretty good. Man, I can't finish these races and win it. I lead so many laps, just can't get it done. But good job to Seth and everyone else.
Do you feel if we didn't go into overtime that you might have had a shot to try to go after Frazier for the win?
No, I feel like that last restart before the overtimes, Seth definitely had it won. So, I don't know. I think they're at the end that last overtime. I think there's no caution there on the last lap that Devin and him might have got together, and I might have been able to sneak my way through. But who knows?
All right, buddy. Well, before we let you go, thank your sponsors on that number 37. Definitely a hard-fought effort.
Yeah, I want to thank Harvest Chevrolet and LSR TV for hosting this.
And I'll see you at the Snowball Derby next week in Pensacola.
Yes, sir.
We got to get together and have a beer.
I'm not 21 yet.
Oh, well, never mind. We'll have to have a soda then.
Drink responsibly.
That's right. Drink responsibly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Caden Anderson, he will settle for third position here tonight at Iowa Speedway. And I believe now Greg is caught up with the runner-up of the race, trying to go for a three-peat. Devin West at number 5.
And Devin, man, all night long you stayed quiet, right around the top 10, using some strategy there at the end on 2 tires, and then all of a sudden you find yourself on the front row with a shot at 3 in a row. But man, tell us about that last restart with Seth Frazier.
That was exciting. I didn't know what I had there. I haven't tried two tires, the Cup cars all week. You know, it was pretty much a gamble to see what it would do. I feel like I had speed all night though. I actually a lot of speed, I felt like. Just kind of saved my stuff, kind of riding around. I lost that fast repair early, and that's actually caused me to be so far behind. Just kind of played catch up all night. But yeah, I said to come 5 feet short of 3 in a row is definitely not too bad, but 3 straight top 2s ain't bad either.
And Devin, you mentioned having to use the fast repair early after that early incident. Tell us about the pressure that puts on you as a driver, being mired deep in the field. It's a short track. It's only 175 laps, and you've already got that fast repair gone early in the race, and you're mired deep in the field. What kind of pressure does that put on you? How does that change your mindset from what you had coming into the race?
Yeah, I think on the fast repair is, I mean, it's great insurance, you know, if you get up front or get in some random wreck, you know, you can always get a new car, right? But when that fast repair is gone and I'm still sitting 20th, you know, with 150 so laps to go, it sucks. I mean, you have to start really saving your stuff and make sure that you're there at the end, because, I mean, one into the wall and one fender pushed up and you're losing 10 to 2 laps. So it sucks, but, you know, you can live through it and just be smart. You know, I think I ran 10th all night, and it's just kind of what I settled with until I figured I could get up to the front.
Devin, we're coming up now 2 weeks off here tonight before we head to Michigan for the next round of the Northwest Cup Series. 3 weeks, from tonight, we head to Michigan. You finished third here in the spring, led 1 lap. What are you going to do differently to try to get yourself those extra 2 positions and hunt down win number 3 of the season?
I just think be more aggressive. You know, I'm not in playoffs this time, and unfortunately, but Michigan's a weird track. You know, a lot of drafting, and the drafting's gone even more severe since last time we were there. So I think it's just keep your nose clean and hopefully save on the fast repair, you know, longer in the race than 20 laps. But you know, just be there when it matters. I mean, that draft's gonna bring you to the front no matter where you're at. So if I can be top 5 about, I don't know, 2 to go, I think I can go for you know, 3 and 4 races maybe. Who knows?
Well, definitely looking strong right now. 2 wins and a second here by, like you said, just about 5 feet coming up short there to start this off. You're looking pretty solid in the best of the rest, brought to you by LSR TV, 13th in points. But Devin, another podium here. It's another one in a row for you, and another chance for you to thank your sponsors.
Yeah, I can discuss some hardwood, Effective Web Solutions, Washington City Supply, all those guys, and LSR TV put on a great show. And good job to Seth, Caden, those guys were fast all night. Those Northwest Tour guys always fast in short tracks. So yeah, just good night, and thank you guys.
Second place, Devin West, another strong run. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now I believe that Justin Prince has made his way down to victory lane, where for the 6th time this season, Seth Frazier has picked up another win. He's going to Arizona.
Yes, indeed. And you talked about tonight how you felt that at least 3 winners would come from the playoff drivers to lock themselves in. Tonight, it ends up being you who's the first of them. How are you feeling as you're going to Phoenix to fight for a title?
Well, I'm definitely relieved to get that over with and be able to try out some new things over the next few weeks. But there's a lot of races left, and I think you'll see a handful of those guys lock themselves in with wins. So it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Tonight, though, it was the mix of strategy, but also consistency towards the end of the race. Of course, with this track, it's known for its long runs, but also the risk of a caution to come out at any moment for drivers who take fresh tires. What was going through your head is the longest run of the race played out, and then bam, you're the race leader as a result of the caution flags.
Well, due to almost everyone shorting, I had about 2 or 3 lap fuel left, and I would have had to pit or to run out. If that had happened and the cycle would have went through, I would have cycled from about 2nd to probably 15th or 16th, stuck a lap down. So I was so committed to that strategy that I had to just play it out and hope for a strategy as time ran out.
Indeed. But as well, talk us through those final restarts as well, because Devin West was up there. Caden Anderson was also scrapping hard. What was going through your head as you're trying to hold them off, especially with Anderson trying to charge for the first 20 laps of one of the last runs of the race?
Well, those 2 kids are 2 of the most talented drivers Northwest, whether it's iRacing or real life. So anytime you can duke it out with them and, hold your own, it's pretty awesome. So that one last restart, we had the white flag came out, so I thought the race was probably over, and the caution came back out. So I was pretty worried there with those 2 on my bumper.
Yes, indeed. The caution and the white came out together, but now it's a couple weeks off for the series. First, you have Thanksgiving, and then you have week 13 for iRacing. Then it's Michigan again. Your thoughts as you go back there for 100 more laps of racing at the 2-mile circuit?
I'm going to try some really crazy stuff with the offset on the steering wheel and some way different steering ratios than I ever used, and see if I can possibly hit on something for Phoenix. I don't know that it'll result in the best finishes, but I want to test some stuff out and see if I can hit on something.
That's an interesting way to play it off, but anyone you want to thank for your run tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to tell Wesley, my thoughts and prayers with his family, his Uncle Tracy, with his medical condition stuff going on. I also need to
Thank
shout
you. I
out
appreciate that, bud.
Yeah, no problem, Wesley. And also a big shout out for Greg for the news for his date he had over the weekend. I'm sure he shared about it during the broadcast, but it sounds like it was a really successful date. So congrats,
no, he
Greg,
did.
for that.
No, he didn't actually. He didn't tell us.
Well, I'll tell you about that one of the broadcasts in the future.
Congratulations. Second, you were saying, Seth?
Well, and thanks to Paul Bear for coming on board and sponsoring the Ford Mustang, and we'll see what happens the next few races and see who joins me in the playoffs.
Seth Frazier, always a character, but a race winner once more. His first win since August. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Seth Frazier, your race winner tonight from Iowa. First, turn things over to you, Wesley. Your thoughts on how things fared out from your perspective, especially with how crazy this race got. Not just with the cautions, but some of the strategy that it really shook things up. Just 8 yellow flags, but 36 caution laps with 7 lead changes.
Well, first off, I do want to say thank you to everybody that has messaged me or sent me a Facebook message, a comment. Like Seth said, it's been a very tough day for the Outland family back home in North Carolina. But, you know, when that red light cuts on or whenever they say you're on air, mics are hot, you got to do your job. But definitely mindful of everything going on. So thank you so much for all the thoughts and prayers. Secondly, congratulations to Seth Frazier. You know, we talked about it on Thursday night with the truck race at Iowa when Dan West Jr. done what he did. He's got 2 months now or 7 weeks to soak it all in and know that whenever it's all said and done, whatever goes on from here, he's running for a championship. And, you know, we saw domination by, you know, Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman, and then we seen what Devin West did as well down the stretch, and now to see a different driver win, I think it shows the competitiveness of the series. And for Seth Frazier, he has that same mindset where whatever goes on from here, he knows that come up in January, he has a shot to run for the championship at a place that Greg and you said he knows very, very well, Phoenix, and he has success at. So a great race. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our colleagues, friends, all of our drivers on the Northwest Tour virtually. Hope everybody has a great holiday season with their family and their loved ones. Never take life for granted. Never take your family and loved ones for granted. And we'll do it again in 2 weeks.
And Greg, the next race, Michigan, of course, time for family, but also a time for lots of changes. There is still a lot to think about for what could come in the iRacing build, mind you. There is still plenty to potentially see come up. Your thoughts for Michigan, since it will be the first season of 2021 technically for the iRacing calendar?
Well, 2 weeks off coming up here for the Northwest Racing Series before heading to Michigan, a race that was won by Bruce Lee Weaver in the spring on a very similar strategy to what Seth Frazier was able to do here tonight, Justin. So curious to see if that is indeed what happens here once again when we head there in 3 weeks' time. For 7 drivers, they will look to join Seth Frazier in that championship race at Arizona, and drivers like Tidrick and Lowther able to build momentum towards that by getting top fives here tonight. West Jr. finished second here in the spring, looking to go one spot better and lock himself in. Sean Brightsman, he's going to be back in the field, going to be very hungry in this one. Looking forward to seeing what happens here in weeks at Michigan.
An interesting night for racing, to say the very least. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's exciting action, whether on CRN Sports or LSR TV for the Northwest Cup Series. Also, I congratulate Seth Frazier on winning at Iowa Speedway tonight. As mentioned, the next race for the Cup Series takes place at Michigan, the Michigan 200, scheduled for December 14, 2020. Coverage starts at approximately 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 8:10 Pacific. Be sure to tune in. But until next time, have a wonderful rest of your evening. For my fellow co-broadcasters and Greg Rentz and Wesley Outland, for Charles Wooden, I'm Justin Prince. So long. You've been watching LSR TV, your home for sim racing, and listening to CRN Sports from the virtual Iowa Speedway.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.